Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Yeah, Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we, on the Florida Sports Network. Nice little sports night last night. A no-no last night. Albeit against one of our teams, but hey, a no-no's a no-no, a no-no. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing a lot better than Tampa Bay Lightning right now. That was a tough one last night for the Lightning.
They haven't had many of those in the last 2+ years in the playoffs. One of those that just flat gets away. And now I think this is only the second time during their run here that they're now facing elimination in a series. In the pandemic year, I don't think they ever had to play a game 6 or a 7 in which they needed to win. And then last year, the Islanders put them in a game 7 in the conference finals.
So Tampa, with their backs to the wall, they come home for game 6 after jumping out to a 2-0 lead last night.
I asked for 1-0 after 1. Give me 1-0 going to the room after 1 Lightning. Hell, they gave me 2-0. And as the late Denny Green said, and we let them off the hook.
They did. I thought they got a little passive in the second period, and Toronto took the entire game to them and held, you want to use momentum, you want to use juice, you want to use style, whatever you want to throw in there. But Tampa watched Toronto take it to them in the second period and did not let up. They were relentless last night, and the Leafs come out with a much-needed win at home for them. Now they're up 3-2 and a chance to take out the defending champs in Tampa.
We're going back to Toronto.
I think so, too.
They're going to be so angry at themselves for letting that one get away. But they're going to have to win 2 in a row. They're going to have to win 2 in a row, something no one's done in this series. Leafs have won what? Games 1, 3, and 5? At some point, Mark, all right, if you're the Lightning, you got to win an odd number game.
That's it. That's all it boils down to. One more at home and then win an odd number game, and you can move on. But I'll tell you what, last night, finally, I mean, I know it's tough because we're out in the Tampa market. We're pulling for Tampa. We want to see Tampa and Florida play in the next round.
Yes.
But finally, in that series, we got a game.
Right.
We played 4 one-sided hockey games last night. We got a terrific, intense playoff game that I've been waiting for in this series since it started, David.
There actually have not been a lot of close games in the NHL playoffs. I mean, been a lot of good action, but you take a look at the results. I mean, Carolina 5-1 over Boston last night. St. Louis with 3 in the third, and 2 of them were really early in a 5-2 win. And we have not had a lot of close games. I mean, there's been, so far, I think there's been 4 overtime games. That's it so far. No, I mean, we're not through to the first round, but I mean, there are times,
Hell, there are times that there are 3 overtimes in one series by this point, 3 overtime games in one series. So you're right. There have not been close series, not close games.
But a no-no last night, don't know how many of you were aware as it was happening, watched any part of it, but the Tampa Bay Rays got no hit last night. They got bombed early, and then the only drama was whether or not 22-year-old rookie Reed Detmers was going to finish the no-no. Verlander early in the night took a no-no into the 8th. He was going for his 4th no-hitter. Would have tied Koufax for 2nd all-time.
Wow.
Got 1 out into the 8th before Gio Urshela with an opposite field single. Then he gets a double play ball, and he's out of there. He faced the minimum through 8. He's like, I mean, is he 40? Or 39 and a lot of change?
Got to be close.
Yeah, he's like 4-1 with an ERA of $1.50 so far. I mean, he looks terrific after missing the last year plus with major surgery.
39.
30, yeah.
39 mowing him down.
Crushing him last night. So he takes a no-no into the 8th, and then the 22-year-old rookie out in Anaheim. And first off, nowadays, any pitcher toeing the rubber to start the 9th inning. I don't care if it's a no-no or not. I mean, honestly, it's tough to find a starting pitcher make it to the 9th inning, but he had 94 pitches, I think it was, through 8. And so, Madden's like, go for it, kid. I think he only had 2 strikeouts. I mean, it wasn't one of those, he struck out 13 guys and the ball was in play all night.
A lot of shocking developments there in and of itself. Only a couple of strikeouts and balls in play. That's not baseball anymore.
So, and games are rout. Angels score 4 in the 8th, but they did it quickly, a pair of 2-run homers. So, I mean, it wasn't. So there he is, of course. He's sitting in the dugout. No one's talking to him.
Right, and the last thing he needs is a 15, 18-minute top of the inning.
Right. And so, but fortunately, it's like, Trout homers, Rendon homers, base runner homer, base runner homer. I mean, it happened in 4 minutes. And so he goes back out there, gets it done. I think he threw like 106, 108 pitches, something like that. How about that? Second youngest in Angels history, Bo Belinsky back in the day.
Old Belinsky, huh?
Yeah.
Belinsky, he owes me money.
It's nice. That's Stripes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Good reference there. But 12-0 was the final. It's an odd no-hitter, but Reed Detmers, 22-year-old lefty, no-hits the Rays.
So tough night for Tampa.
Right.
Great sports night, tough night for Tampa. They get no hit in baseball. More importantly, the Lightning go down 3-2 to the Leafs.
But fortunately, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback got a part-time job,
in which he will make obscene amounts of money whenever it is he starts with his part-time job.
I don't know if you've been to a convenience store lately, but they've got those signs in which, they're now paying like $15.50 up to $20 an hour, trying to entice workers. I mean, in Tom's case, it's, I don't know what it comes to an hour, but I mean, apparently it's going to be like 35 or more million a year.
A year. Hey, Troy, Tony, how you guys doing now?
Just listen.
There's a new quarterback on the block, and his name's Tom Brady.
Well, Tom, how much money do you want? Well, I don't know. How much did Joe and Troy get with ESPN over there? Well, the one guy reportedly got about 15, and the other guy reportedly got about 18. And he goes, well, all right, that's 33. And then how about a little something for the effort? Gotta admit, is this like if Michael Jordan decided after his NBA career was over, I'm going to call NBA games?
I guess.
Is this Tiger joining the tower? But it's not just doing the Masters. I mean, it's Tiger doing the entire PGA Tour, like doing all 22 tournaments with Nance here. And this is an all-timer saying, you know what? Give me the headset.
Hey, no matter how bad he is, you think it'll be better than Kings Oilers last night?
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. Wow. It's never good when you're a play-by-play person and you're trending on Twitter.
No, it is not.
That's never a good thing.
Never.
Very rarely. I mean, there are times in which, maybe you nail the call of a great moment and you could be trending in a good way. But usually when you're a national sportscaster and you are trending after the game that you just called, the odds are not a good thing.
Unless it's Gus Johnson, the odds are it's bad.
Right.
I really believe that. But Tom gets paid.
Wow. Damn.
Who's his spotter?
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know if he's ever thought about it.
Don't know if he actually realizes there is one.
Right. Not sure he fully realizes what's entailed with this job. The part of it that I liked was, first off, it's a big deal. It wasn't announced by the president of Fox Sports.
No,
it was announced by the president of Fox. Last name Murdoch. That's who did this announcement. Right. That's number one. But number two is, how surprised are you?
I'm stunned because, one, every single move that Troy was going to make, and not because of you, because you don't tell me squat. It's not really any of my business. But the Post had the money and the places, and we knew it was Amazon, or we knew, and all of a sudden Monday Night Football came in. So we had a good idea. If you follow the people who write about the media, you had a pretty good idea that something was going on. There was no talk of this.
No.
There was nothing out there that gave us any inclination that Tom Brady was looking to do anything but own the Miami Dolphins when he was done playing.
Right.
That, and he just never wants to spend any time at his house. That whole line about family and kids and wife and bull blank, Tom. You are either she doesn't want you around or you don't want to be around with. I don't understand. She's gorgeous. And the first thing you want to do is get out of the house again, Tom.
That must have been a traumatic 10 weeks that he was home.
That is a hell of a retirement.
He retires 10 weeks later. He's back playing, and B, he's finding the first good part-time job he can find post-retirement.
I mean, what, Walmart greeter wasn't available, Tom?
Well, it was, but, they don't pay this well.
They were only offering $30 million?
What I love is that Lachlan Murdoch announced that Tom was basically also going to be shaking hands and kissing babies for Fox sponsors. That part of the salary is, he's going to call games, but, he's also going to, make appearances on behalf of our, clients. Wow. Miller and Moulton, Fox, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Now there was a big margin though. It was like 1,000,007 versus 2.8, so they had a pretty big gap that they could fall in line with.
You did see Josh Lambo sued the Jags, right?
I did. Yeah.
I mean, just of all the little ones that I saw, that was the one I wanted to hit you with because that's.
Oh, it's in the starting five.
I figured.
It's our second story actually.
Well, it is football, David.
Right. You know, let's see, who was it here in the chat room? Paul, maybe you're right. Maybe we'll look back and say that the Lightning's run as Stanley Cup champs ended in the second period of Game 5 as they let the 2-0 lead. And there's no doubt the Leafs outplayed them the last 40 minutes. No doubt about it. But I thought 2 penalties changed the series if, in fact, they go down. The too many men on the ice penalty changed everything. Toronto had nothing going until the second period power play, in which it deflects off Tavares there. The Stamkos high stick ends up being the killer, though. Early third.
What are our Tampa signals? You know, you're at
Uh,
92.1.
and is it 103.1? 10-10, 92.1. It was 103.1.
Are we on Lake City 106.1?
Hold on. I have them written down here. Yes.
They just have 10-10 and 92.1
Yeah,
now.
I just saw that. Yeah.
Lake City's 106.1, right?
It is.
Port Charlotte's 1070.
It is. I could go back to Jack's, by the way. I had never been there.
Oh, yeah? I had a shoe thrown at me there once.
Did you deserve it? Honestly?
Maybe. Whole hockey team was there. Boy, did Dwayne Harmer find that funny. Had a beer poured over my head and a shoe thrown at me.
Paul, I thought the Stammer high stick when it made it 4-on-4 and they scored twice, that's the penalty. Took the power play away. I mean, who knows? They could score there, go up 3-1, the game be over. Mac, interesting. Don't think it'll garner enough response, but hey, we don't have a poll question yet, so we'll take it under advisement. Can't believe you're bailing on the Lightning that quickly. Down 3-2, the Lightning are toast.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, Dratharian. That's a pretty funny comment.
10 seconds. I challenge anybody to listen to the first goal call in the game.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Top of the morning to you on this Wednesday, the 11th of May. Did you see that the PGA Tour has rendered a decision? And people were actually surprised by it.
I was just surprised that blank U wasn't anywhere in the...
I mean, what country are they living in? Are they paying attention? I read golf writers late yesterday saying, oh, many of us are surprised that this is the decision. And I don't know why I went to minor league baseball guy
Thank
there.
you, Brockmeyer. I no idea where that came from, but I'm happy I'm happy that you went there this early.
I don't know. We're actually surprised that they rendered this decision. We thought, based on past precedent, that they would let them play in the events that are outside the country, but wouldn't let them play in the events that are scheduled for in the United States. We thought that was how they were going to split the atom. Are you serious?
No, I think the only question you and I had is, after the PGA Tour said no, are these guys going to stick it out and defect?
And then are they dead to the PGA Tour?
Right.
I mean, is the PGA Tour going to say, well, that's it, you're done. See you in court?
Right. This is going according to Hoyle, the way you and I saw it, right?
So the PGA Tour officially denied the releases for all the players, and we don't know exactly how many, according to Greg Norman, who's heading up this. Officially, it's called the LIV Tour, but we just describe it as the Saudi Tour. It's easier to understand that way. So the PGA Tour officially denies the releases for players who wanted to play in the first LIV event, which is scheduled for the second weekend in June in London. And I guess those in the golf community said, based on past precedent, that they thought that the PGA Tour would grant the releases for the events not in the U.S., but I believe there's 4 events that are scheduled in the States. 2 of them on Trump properties, one in Jersey, one at Doral. There's one scheduled for near Portland, and I forget where the other one is in the States. And they thought that the PGA Tour would never allow them to play in an event that was actually in the States, but that overseas, because they've granted releases in the past to play in non-sanctioned events overseas.
Right. Most recently, that tournament in Dubai, which was a cash grab, and they all went and played, and they released them all. And for that reason, for whatever reason, the release of the players for that tournament must have, that's the past precedent in which the golf media is talking about. But one was a one-off tournament in Dubai for a cash grab.
Right.
The other's a rival tour.
Correct.
There's a canyon of difference between what these events bring to the table. And for golf writers to not understand that, I don't know what they're doing for a living.
I know. I mean, to us, it seemed, well, of course they were going to deny the releases. But they made it official yesterday. I will say this. I'm glad the PGA Tour got it out of the way before PGA Championship week. I mean, next week is a big deal to the PGA of America. Try to stay out of their way. And so, all right, they rendered their verdict. Now, I guess we'll see between Phil and Sergio and reportedly Lee Westwood. I mean, there are others. Bubba's been mentioned. We don't know if that's true or not. Ian Poulter's been mentioned. We don't know if that's true. Phil, Sergio, Westwood, none of them have denied that they sought releases. So now we'll see whether or not they're going to show up in London.
Well, and the other thing is they leaked out it started with a little bit of a leak that they said no. The question now is, how many of the 17 out of the top 100 are we going to find out exactly who they are between now and then?
Right.
Are those names going to come out? But to point something out to everybody of how insignificant this tour could be, do you know that 31 of the top 100 weren't in the Wells Fargo tournament this last week? I mean, losing 17 out of the top 100 is a pimple on the PGA Tour.
Correct. But, which is why I believe the PGA Tour realizes that this is the approach we have to take. Because in theory, you could have 20 of those 31 say moonlight and say, well, I'm not going to play in the Wells Fargo. I'll go play in this LIV event, which it pays 8 times more. And then I'll come back and start playing the PGA Tour again. And the tour's going, no, we're not going to let you moonlight.
Because what would happen then is that the tour you're moonlighting out could get a lot of popularity. If you're allowing any player to go play this and give them the opportunity to make cash, you have the opportunity for them to stay on that tour. And that's what they're fearful of. So to your point, David, that's why you have to shut it down.
And so, all right. PGA Tour's drawing their line in the sand, right? They've said no, and they said if you cross this, you're dead to us. Now, there is some debate as to whether or not it will be a short-term suspension or whether it will be a permanent ban.
Yeah, it's going to be a permanent ban.
Well, I will say this. I believe if the PGA Tour was smart, they would not issue permanent bans, but they would hand out like 3 or 6 month suspensions. Because, think about this. Like you and I think Phil got suspended. That this sabbatical was, no. The PGA Tour said, Phil, you're done.
Yeah, you cannot go after the bartender at the club like that after you've had that many drinks. You got a letter. You're not allowed back for 3 months.
Right. Don't know what to tell you.
There are many of you listening right now that know exactly what I'm talking about.
Dustin Johnson,
Right. He got a letter.
He did not take those 6 months off back in the day to do self-reflection.
Nope.
No. So, and from a court standpoint, a legal standpoint, the PGA Tour has been well within their right to hand down suspensions. No one's ever challenged them on that. A lifetime ban is a different story. And that's why I think they could get away with, what are you talking about? We gave them a 90-day suspension.
Right, your first suspension's 90 days. You do it again, we make it 6 months, and then we make it a year.
Right, treat it like PEDs in baseball. So we'll see where it goes from here. But the PGA Tour officially said no. Which
and
you and I
apparently surprised some people.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And so we'll see who shows up. That is the week before the U.S. Open.
And it was across from the Canadian Open
on
for
tour.
The PGA Tour event.
So we'll see how many people show up for it. And then, quite frankly, Mark, we'll see if the USGA then gets involved. We have wondered, will the major championships fall in line with whatever punishment the PGA Tour hands down?
And so far, it's just been no punishment. It's just been you can't leave the tour. So it wouldn't affect the Open or the U.S. Open or the PGA for that matter. But we shall see down the road how they are going to take how they take action going forward with any of these players who are going to try to make an attempt to play on the LIV Saudi tour.
Gut feeling, think the PGA Tour is just going to essentially fire them all, ban them?
Yes.
I do too. This is going to be glorious. Glorious. It's going all the way to the Supreme Court. It'll be fabulous. It'll take 3 years.
The only negative is there's no chance of that Drive to Survive show ever happening on the PGA Tour now.
It would have been amazing. Get all the behind-the-scenes backdoor politics of everything that's gone down in the last 150 days.
Yeah, I don't think the PGA Tour wants their dirty laundry aired quite like that.
No.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Mac, where did you see that Lanier's one of only 7 to average 20 points, 10 rebounds a game? I mean, I got a list here of like 24 guys.
What did he say about?
Maybe when he retired.
Yeah, that's not right, Mac. To give you an idea, Shaq, David Robinson, Karl Malone, Akeem, Barkley, Larry Bird, by the way, who averaged exactly 10 rebounds a game, Moses Malone, Kareem, Elvin Hayes, Wilt, Bob Pettit, Elgin Baylor, George Mikan, Billy Cunningham, Walt Bellamy. The 3 active players, by the way, who are currently averaging 20 and 10 are Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, and Joel Embiid.
It was DeMarcus Cousins for a while. Another one. Then he became a freaking role player.
I agree with you, Mac. He also played in an era in which, kind of like Wes Unseld and Dave Cowens, Mark. Remember? You could have the 6'8", 6'9" center.
Yeah, he played for some really bad Pistons teams.
Yeah, he did. I remember him. Remember he got traded late in his career to Milwaukee? They thought he might help them get over the hump against the Celtics and the Sixers on those Marcus Johnson, Junior Bridgman, Sidney Moncrief, Milwaukee teams. Canada Relief, they are spending over $2 billion a year just for the rights to broadcast the games. How much is $35 million in the grand scheme of things when you're spending $2 billion just to be able to set up shop?
Holy shnikey.
What do you got?
My goodness, a dude passed out flying a plane. The passenger had to, literally a passenger. I have a serious situation here. My pilot has gone incoherent, and I have no idea how to fly up the airplane. and he landed the airplane at Palm Beach International Airport.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
And to the person that talked him down.
Yes.
I'm not trying to talk shit here, but like, it's doable to land an airplane. Like, if you have someone in your ear saying, "Okay, when you touch down,"
You've
hit
flown a
these
lot of
flaps."
planes, have you?
Say again.
You've flown a lot of planes?
Flight simulators. I had a flight simulator when I was little.
Little.
I played religiously.
Oh, you're 9?
That I used.
How little?
I was like 12, 13.
So let's just say for the rest of the world who's never had a flight simulator and you're on a plane and the pilot's incoherent.
I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't know how I talk to master control. I mean, okay, so I put on the headset. What button do I press just to be able to ask for help?
Do you know what kind of plane it was? Because if it was like a passenger
A
jet.
Cessna Caravan.
Oh, come on, a Cessna.
Come on.
You're fired.
That's like a Kia.
You're fired.
I mean, it's like going to
Come on.
Wisconsin.
No, you're fired.
If it was a Boeing 737, I'd be like,
What
holy
is this,
shit.
Laverne and Shirley, for crying out loud? Going to a Packer game?
What, come on, it's like going to Wisconsin. We'll zip in, we'll zip out. Hey, I got the shit kicked out of me in Wisconsin once.
Again, it's an unbelievable achievement.
No. You said it's really easy.
No, I said it's doable. That is the words that came out of my mouth. Doable.
Where's the mute button?
Just don't be an idiot.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. I got a great story in the starting five.
Oh, okay.
So I may zoom through the starting five just so we have enough time to talk about this one great story. Either that or we'll have to carry it over to the next hour.
It's your call. I don't know what the story is.
It's golf related.
And I don't know how many stories you have in your starting five. There's supposed to be 5, but usually there's somewhere between 11 and 16.
Well, I don't know if there's supposed to be 5 stories. There's supposed to be 5 categories.
You've morphed it into that.
Well, and then, you've got under the categories umbrellas and, tangents and what have you. Let's get to it.
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Tom Brady has a part-time job. It will not affect his full-time job as quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but once he's done playing for the Bucs, he's going to call games on Fox. 10-year deal, reportedly worth up to $375 million. He will make, if reports are correct, and he were to do the whole contract, he would make more, $40 million more, broadcasting for Fox in 10 years than he did playing in the NFL for 23. Not that there's a lot of money in broadcasting these games right now.
None whatsoever.
That's right. He will make roughly $40+ million more with Fox in 10 years than he would playing quarterback in the NFL for 23.
Seems about right.
Did you see this story?
You got to build that resume, David, in order to get the big job.
Well, he's appeared in 10 Super Bowls and won 7.
That's why he's getting $37 million.
I don't know if you have to list anything else on the resume. What have you done? Well, I got this one factoid right here. I've won more Super Bowls than any franchise. Is that good enough? What's that worth? I don't know. Pick a number. I'll let you know when you're in the ballpark. Former Jags kicker Josh Lambo, did you see this? He's suing the team. He's saying Urban Meyer created a hostile work environment.
No. Oh.
I got to admit, from what we've been told, I think he's got a pretty good case. But he's seeking $3.5 million in lost salary. Basically, they cut him, and if they didn't cut him, that's what he would have made, I think.
Don't kick the kicker.
Well, they investigated that, the Jags did, and they basically did not come to the conclusion that the story he was telling was right. So, no, he did not sue Urban, by the way. He's suing the Jags. So, needless to say, they're going to fight this. Longtime Bills defensive end Jerry Hughes ends up signing with Houston. NBA playoffs last night. Heat led by 12 at the half and by 15 after 3, and then blew out the Sixers, 120-85. Jimmy Butler with 23. Joel Embiid injured his back going for a loose ball. Game 6 in Philly tomorrow. Suns and Mavs in Phoenix. Mavs led by 7 mid-second quarter.
You wouldn't know it if you just got up and looked at the score.
And from that point on, Phoenix outscored Dallas 80-43. 110-80. Phoenix leads that series 3-2. Couple of game 5s tonight. Boston and Milwaukee tied at 2. Celtics home, 5.5-point favorites. And Memphis trying to stay alive. No Ja Morant. Bone bruise in the knee. Likely would miss the rest of the playoffs.
But remember, their record without Morant's pretty good.
20-6, I believe.
Yeah.
And that includes the 3-point loss at Golden State the other night. Memphis getting 4 tonight at home, facing elimination.
I like the 4.
I'm with you. I am with you. We had 4 game 5s in the NHL last night, and all 4 series were tied at 2. In Toronto, Lightning blew a 2-0 first period lead and a 2-1 lead in the third. Too many men on the ice penalty got things started in the second period. Leafs scored on the power play. And then when they were on the power play in the third period, leading 2-1, Stamkos gets called for a high stick, makes it 4-on-4. The Leafs score twice to take the lead. Matthews, the game winner with 6 minutes to go, 4-3 Toronto. The Leafs lead 3-2. Lightning facing elimination tomorrow in Tampa. Seth Jarvis, 2 goals for Carolina, 5-1 over Boston. Tarasenko scored a hat trick in the third period to break a 2-all tie. St. Louis up 3-2 now on the Wild, winning game 5, 5-2. And Adrian Kempe, a minute 12 into overtime. Thank goodness it ended quickly. You didn't have to keep listening to the game.
That must have been a hell of a goal call in overtime.
Can only imagine. Kings 5-4 over Edmonton. LA leads the series 3-2. Everyone associated with the Oilers organization is going to get fired if they lose this series. And I do mean everyone. Tonight, Panthers try to break the 2-all tie with Washington. Pittsburgh tries to eliminate the Rangers. And Dallas and Calgary are tied at 2 north of the border. The Canadians, who played for Lord Stanley's Cup just a year ago, won the NHL draft lottery and will pick first overall.
And they were supposed to win the lottery. They had the best odds. They were the worst team in the league.
This will be the first time that the Canadians are drafting first overall since, was it 1980? Doug Wickenheiser? I think
the late Doug Wickenheiser, who ended up being a bust.
Yeah.
Played with the Fort Wayne Comets, David, in the IHL, in case you wondered.
Reed Detmers, 22-year-old Angels rookie lefty, no-hit the Rays last night. Threw 108 pitches in doing so. 1 walk, 2 Ks in the no-hitter. Trout hit 2 homers. Angels won 12-0. Marlins have lost 9 of 10. Arizona beat them for the 5th straight time, 9-3. Judge with his first ever walk-off homer, a 3-run job in the 9th. Yankees 6-5 over the Jays. Well, Mark, you said bet the Brewers and bet them hard. What are the odds the Reds were going to win 3 in a row? Milwaukee 5-4. Cincinnati's not only 6-24 on the season. That's a 200 winning percentage. But they've accomplished something, Mark, which had not been done since 1893. They have yet to have a starting pitcher pitch into the 7th inning in their first 30 games of a season. I didn't realize they went to the bullpen so much back in 1893, but almost 130 years. That's how woeful this Reds team is.
We're going to keep hearing about records that they're going to set this year.
I mean, they're on pace to win like 30 to 32 games. Detroit and Oakland split a doubleheader. 6-0 and 4-1. Detroit won the first, lost the second. Korab shaved for the Red Sox, trying to change things up.
Worked for a night.
They scored 6 in the second inning. I think it was Devers with a slam. Red Sox beat the Braves 9-4. Mets scored 3 in the 6th to double up Washington 4-2. There was a rat on the field, a rat. And it was apparently like a dog promotion night. So there were dogs in the ballpark.
Dogs and rats?
Right.
Thank goodness it wasn't a cat promotion.
That's exactly what the PR person for the Nats tweeted out. Great minds think alike. Good for you. Mets lead in the East is 7, by the way. Dodgers 11-1 over the Pirates. Houston 5-0 over Minnesota. Verlander took a no-hitter into the 8th. He's 4-1. Baltimore's won 5 of 6. They beat the Cardinals 5-3. Texas got 2 homers from Corey Seager. They beat the Royals 6-4. White Sox 4-1 over Cleveland. Padres beat the Cubs 5-4. Their manager, Bob Melvin's going to have surgery, and he'll be out a while. Seattle, thanks to 4 Phillies errors, beat the Phillies 5-4. And the Giants beat the Rockies for the 9th straight time, 9-2, the final. The PGA Tour officially denied releases for their players to participate in the first LIV event scheduled for June 9th through 11th in London. We'll see what happens from here. Bob Lanier passed away yesterday. After a short illness, the Hall of Famer was 73 years old. A St. Bonaventure legend, led him to the Final Four, but got hurt and never played in that Final Four. And had a distinguished career mostly with the Pistons. Averaged 20 points, 10 rebounds a game. And finally, did you hear the story about 26-year-old John Eckert? Plays fantasy football.
Oh, he didn't do well in fantasy football, did he?
Well, in fact, he finished last in his league.
Yep.
And somehow, some way, the bet was whoever finished last had to try to qualify for the U.S. Open.
Yes, I did see this.
So he signed up for the U.S. Open qualifier, which was yesterday at Oakwood Country Club in Kansas City. Well, you have to wonder, how, because there's a
minimum handicap I thought you had to have
it's
in
like
order to
2.7. He signed up saying he was a pro.
So he lied.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
And
then he and everybody in his league, they're reals because it's lost its sense of humor to me now.
Okay, well, so he lied. He put on the thing that he was a pro. That's how they just took it and accepted it and what have you, put him in. He spent too much time on the range practicing. He actually missed his tee time. All right, he's familiar with the course, and he knows where the 10 tee is, and he shows up on the 10 tee, and his group's gone. And so he incurs the 2-stroke penalty, I think it is, hits, and shoots 58. Now, he told the other 2 golfers right away. He said, hey, just so you know, this is the deal and whatever. And they said, okay, here's the deal. We don't care, but you got to keep up. We're not going to wait for you. And so he said the guys were cool, and he did play fast. He shot a .112 plus 40. That's with 4 pars, including parring 3 of his last 5 holes. How about that? A strong finish for a .112. So the USGA has banned him from all future events because of the 112, and because he said he was a pro. They say, well, you've now lost your amateur status.
Oh, no. Boy, did they hand it to him there.
Right. So I don't know if they're going to
impressed that the two guys played with him were cool about it.
They were.
Yeah.
So 26-year-old John Eckert, as punishment for finishing last in his fantasy football league, had to try to qualify for the U.S. Open yesterday and shot a $112. Even par 72 was low score and qualified for the U.S. Open.
Just curious, do we know what the two guys in the group shot?
We do not.
Knew I shouldn't have asked that question.
But they were quoted as saying, it's unusual, but, we were cool with it as long as we didn't have to wait for him. He had a 10 on one hole, a par 4.
He shot 112.
He did. 58-54 officially.
It's a long day.
I mean, Mark, it would have been a $110 if he had showed up on time.
Then there's that. And
he did say, what was I taking extra time on the range for? Like that was going to make a difference. And that was the starting 5. So it's not a cute story.
Oh, it disgusts me.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I thought you were going to say that he did better. Like, I thought you were going to say it was a crazy story where he just shot like 80 or something.
Well, no, it's a crazy story because I thought the same thing you did, Mark. I'm like, well, how does a golfer this bad get into a U.S. Open qualifier? Because the restrictions are you got to be a pro or an amateur with like a registered 2 handicap that you can prove. Well, he lied. Said he was a pro.
And they just believed it.
Apparently so. It checked the right box. Got him in. Pay your entry fee.
And the USGA is going to do anything about the LIV tour. Right.
Well, that'll be what you use against the USGA. You're like, hold on a second. You let John Eckert try to qualify for the U.S. Open. You're kicking Sergio out? What are you kidding?
John Eckert.
He's from Overland Park, Kansas. Come on now. So what I'm curious about, I don't know what the guy's actual handicap is because, they have the old adage, what would a scratch golfer shoot on these courses, et cetera. Just,
112.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program,
The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I could have landed that plane. Still cool.
Mark, look. You said it was Palm Springs Airport?
No. Palm Beach International.
Palm Beach International Airport. Do you know how big those runways are?
Yeah, do you understand there's other planes?
Right. That's an emergency landing. Clear the runway. That's a big-ass runway and a small-ass plane. You can land that shit on the highway.
I understand, but if you've never flown before,
I understand.
no, because it's not just landing it; it's stopping it after you land it. That would be a bigger problem.
Right, but all you got to do is,
Okay, Philly.
Hey,
Philly.
Where's the brakes on this thing? It's right here. Okay, I'm gonna touch it down, hit the brakes. Boom.
How's that accent go again?
Where's the brakes? I'm gonna touch that down and hit the brakes.
You hear back from Westwood One yesterday. I'm only going to talk to work things about you.
Dude, I have sent emails and they are not responding to me. I'm gonna start calling them.
Yeah. Who's the guy that hit? Is it Jeff?
Josh.
No. The engineer in Detroit.
Manny?
No. God dang it.
Don't yell at me.
I'll yell at all of you in a second.
Wow, look at this ESPN headline. The Sixers chose Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler in 2019. Now Butler and the Heat have them on the brink of elimination.
Johnny Mac, I'm with you. All right, give me the Fred Flintstones mobile. I'll stop this sucker with my feet.
Albert,
yeah.
get with Albert.
Okay.
Need a poll question, right?
Do you think you could have landed that plane? Yes or no?
It's not the worst poll question.
I this is done with the good. This is what we do right now.
Fans of the show, no. Do you think in a clear runway you could land a
We're
Cessna?
not talking to you. We're doing this on the air.
Okay,
Quiet.
sorry, you're right.
Maintain calm for 2 minutes.
Composure. Keep it together. Breathe. Dratharian. No, Philly can land a plane. Just don't ask him to make a phone call. That's funny.
Yeah, it's true. He can land a plane, but could he get press releases?
No. Can he get us credentials?
In fact,
no.
could he send an email to the team asking for credentials?
That should be the poll question.
What is Felipe more likely to accomplish? Landing a plane or getting us credentials to the Panthers?
The Florida Panthers. Have you sent the email yet?
Unbelievable.
The answer is no.
He
And don't just start putting a crappy email together. This has to be you have a job. In fact, I'm going to need to see a proof of it before you send it out now.
I love he was able to graduate college, but get us credentials to the Panthers. Oh man, that's impossible.
Got him
Can't do it.
great restaurant setups over the weekend, made him look good to his family. I asked him to do one thing. I've asked him to do two things. He's blew off one completely, and the other one he hasn't done yet.
Well, there was probably a pickup game that got.
Well, you're right.
You know, he had
Got to keep that rec center pass.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, getting over the hump together. Thanks so much for being with us. Bill Bender to join us in about 40 minutes' time to talk about the madness that is college sports these days. It's going to be nice to catch up with John Forslund an hour from now. John, well, he left the Eastern time zone and he became the voice of the Seattle Kraken. And, well, we missed him for most of this year. We didn't want to bother him at the ungodly hours that we would be calling him, but he's in the playoffs doing it for TNT and TBS. And so he's back amongst us, traveling the country. And he's in a time zone in which we can talk to him here on Miller and Moulton. So we will an hour from now. And Seth Everett to join us in about 90 minutes for his weekly visit.
But we're going to deviate from sports for just a moment here.
Oh, boy.
Because
buckle up.
For those of you listening in Lake City, in Tampa, in Port Charlotte, in our final hour, our bonus hour, and as long as David and I have done a show together, we finish with this little segment, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I try to find 3 stories, one that is good and 2 that are as cringeworthy as is humanly possible. And more times than not, the good is the toughest one to find. Let's be honest, there's not a lot of good out there these days. But I found a good right off the bat. And I even thought it was so good that I said it to David during one of our commercial breaks. Because there was a flight on a private plane where the pilot was incoherent during the flight.
That's not good.
The unidentified passenger says in the audio, "I've got a serious situation here. My pilot has gone incoherent. I have no idea how to fly the airplane."
That's a problem.
That does not seem to be, it seems to be a big problem, David.
Yes.
And Felipe, without missing a beat, just yells at me, land a plane.
I could land that bird.
What kind of a plane was it? Mark looks it up and goes, well, it was a Cessna whatever.
It was a single-engine Cessna 208. And this guy landed the plane.
With zero, zip, zilch, flying anything other than being a passenger.
Put it this way. The American Airlines pilot who's on the runway, the next guy to take off is this land. The tower operator tells the pilot waiting to take off for Charlotte, "You just witnessed a couple of passengers land that plane." The pilot says, "Did you say passengers landed that airplane? Oh my God, great job." To which Philly, of course, says, "I could land that plane."
Where did he land the plane?
Palm Beach International Airport.
International Airport. Do you know how long those runways are and how big those runways are? For a Cessna?
Who cares? I mean,
and Felipe, why is it that, how many flights have you flown? How many flights do you have under your belt?
As a passenger.
No, as a pilot.
As a pilot, zero.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, you're talking.
But you have the ability to do this. Why are you so confident that you could land this plane?
Now, how many flights?
No.
A Microsoft Flight Simulator pilot? Because I have a fair share amount of those.
Hold on. Did he just go there?
Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator pilot. Hey, you know what? I play PGA Tour golf on my PlayStation. Maybe I could try to qualify for that U.S. Open.
Look, all I'm saying is if you have a good sense on how to balance the plane and the aerodynamics behind it, you can do it.
Wait a minute. How do you have a good sense to handle the aerodynamics on a plane? What? You were sitting in your room on a computer?
Was the breeze? How was the breeze with the simulator? Was it? Could you feel it in that
You're not
single
going to
engine
like
plane?
this answer. I play a lot of video games.
So do I. Does it mean I can land a plane?
Wait, hold on. Here's what I'm envisioning. We're all on the plane. Something happens to the pilot. Felipe stands up, turns to us and says, "Guys, I've played a lot of video games. I got this."
Look, now, Felipe, I have, believe it or not, flown a plane. When I first moved to Southwest Florida, I came down here to start a minor league hockey team, and there were many people who wanted to be our advertising agencies. And all were throwing multiple things my way to try to get the business. And one guy just was in pitching his thing, and he said he was a pilot. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'd love to fly a little plane. And he just matter-of-factly went, well, when do you want to go? And I'm like, whenever we can. So we went to Page Field in Fort Myers. He took me up in a plane very similar to this, made a little flight. When we were in the air, he let me take control of the plane. Do you know how hard it is the first time you fly just to maintain 1,000 feet altitude, to not go to 1,100 or 900, it just to go straight in the air without, cement to crash into?
Well, it's not hard at all. I mean, if you fly on a computer simulator when you're 12 in your room, can I ask, how old were you when you did all this flying?
Like 9 through 13. But I didn't.
Hold on, though. I'm envisioning the three of us. We're going to die. Okay. The pilot is incapacitated. We are all going to die. And you're going, oh, no, guys, I have plenty of experience in a simulator. And we go, really, when? And you look at us with a straight face with our lives in the balance and go, 10, 12 years ago.
No, it goes past that, though.
Like, you had more flight experience at 15 that we need to know about?
Look, when we're playing Call of Duty, I'm the pilot, okay? I pilot the helicopters, Grand Theft Auto, all that stuff.
I am envisioning you and I sitting in rows 2 and well, when I play Call of Duty,
that's it.
I feel
you flew the helicopter in Call of Duty.
I'm going to turn the phone off now. I don't need to say goodbye to my wife. I think things will be fine.
Look,
you
usually
play Call of Duty.
The thing that people are usually concerned the most about is once you land it.
The landing.
Concerned about putting
the sudden stop is a big concern.
Right. Once those wheels hit the ground, hey, how do I open the flaps? How do I hit the brakes? Guy on the radio tells me how to. Boom. You do it. You gotta have confidence.
Well, Philly, that is something you do not lack.
Right.
But when it comes to landing an airplane,
this just you would have been, apparently you would have taken, first off, there's no way we would have let you. There's no way Miller and Moulton would have let you, after the sales pitch you just gave us, hey guys, I did Call of Duty. No offense, Miller and Moulton are going to put our lives in Miller and Moulton's hands. And if we're going down together, because neither one of us looked at the other and go, I got this, I did Call of Duty. Okay, so you never would have made it to the chair. I'm just telling you, better work on your sales pitch as to how to get in the chair when the three of us go flying. The Call of Duty thing's not going to work. This was off air. We were discussing this briefly, and Felipe's like, listen, it's a little plane. It's a huge runway. This isn't going to be a problem. No. We get that. But it's a very hard landing if you don't do it properly.
But you gotta like glide into it,
Right.
Yeah.
No, we all know how you're supposed to do it. Right. You touch just like a bird, softly landing, and it just like a butterfly. Right. No, that's ideal.
Here's the thing. When you're in a plane that's that little, because I've flown on a few of those type of planes, wind does a lot more to those planes than you would think. You move around.
Yes.
Mark.
You're right. Keep going.
That's right.
He's had that simulator experience.
And he's flown on
a
helicopter on Call of Duty.
Felipe, if you pass gas hard enough in the back of the plane, it could alter the landing. I mean, this is a little plane, but fortunately, it's a big runway. Okay, so we're good. Felipe, it's the sudden stop we're all worried about.
Before I dreamt of working in the sports world as a kid, I wanted to be a pilot.
Well,
and you didn't make it.
You need good eyesight and good math. I have neither of those things.
But you're
going to land our plane.
Guys,
you're going to be our pilot with no eyesight, and you can't add.
I am really
We've got
good.
the math.
Yeah, Miller and Moulton have the math. And by the way, we could do the mathematical equation that says we are going to land this sucker hard and die.
Oh, you need to relax.
So I somehow have to figure out how to word this properly to into a poll question.
Well, apparently, by the way, it's not that impressive. It can't be the good.
I need to specify landing a little Cessna in an international airport runway. That is a big runway.
He's really emphasizing
Felipe,
every word.
The size of the runway doesn't matter. It's concrete. That's the part of it that matters. It's not a big cushion that we're going to drop out of the sky into.
See, you're in the air,
This
traveling
isn't
at a
like-
high rate of speed,
This
and then you
isn't
land on
fire
the ground.
department showing up and they have the inflatable thing and you jump out of the third floor window into it.
Look.
It's concrete.
If I'm in a Cessna with 6 of my other friends, they're like, we're screwed. We're all going to die. I'm going to be the guy that's going to be like, I got this. Don't worry, guys.
You're good. Hold on a second. We watch you freak out during a commercial break when you have to play music with your left hand and call somebody with your right. You're telling us you're going to land this sucker?
I got plenty of time. I'm on a deadline with you guys, all right? I got plenty of time to land this plane.
I'll give you a deadline. The concrete's the deadline. Okay? You don't have any more seconds. Okay? That's a deadline right there.
And a good chance that the line won't be a part of it. It'll just be dead.
Right.
I like how Felipe went from taking us to 6 of his friends. He's now piloting across North America in this
Right.
Cessna.
No, because you just said it. If I'm in a plane with you two and your wives, you guys are going to kick me to the side. You guys are going to restrain me not to get in that pilot seat.
Well, this just in. When you turned and said, I've done Call of Duty, the wives might have tackled you first.
Okay, that was honestly just for context. But I am very good at operating vehicles.
He keeps harping on the whole international
I
airport.
fly drones. How about that?
I mean, you could land, you reference Page Field. There's nothing international about it. It's concrete, though.
It's still concrete.
And then the plane, even their little strips are plenty wide enough.
Every runway is concrete. Why do you keep saying that? Tires are rubber also.
I-75, okay, US 41. I mean, finding a place to land, it's not a problem. It's the landing.
There are lots of straight places with concrete that are plenty long enough. It's getting it down on the concrete. That's all.
And then hitting the brakes.
So, poll question, can I land this bird?
It will be up. Somehow, some way, and it's not going to be could Felipe land the bird, because I hate to break it to you, Felipe. I don't think our audience would have your back.
True.
As Fam Forever says in our Twitch chat room, commercial pilot really impressed. Felipe, not that impressed.
Miller and Moulton, your pilots here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Confused over there.
FELIPE from Miami.
No spaces?
No, all together.
Landed a
At
plane
Felipe
over there?
from
What's
Miami.
going on?
FILIPE from. It's not coming up.
FELIPE.
There you are.
Shit, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Roger. Mark asked me if I had seen an airplane.
Whole question: do you allow Felipe to fly, or hope for a parachute on board?
All right, here's what I've got. Passenger on a single-engine Cessna was forced to land the plane after the pilot had a medical emergency. Felipe from Miami says he could land the plane. Do you think you could land the plane? Does that work for a poll question?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I got this. No bleeping way.
I'm sorry, son. But you must have me confused. My name is Roger Murdoch. I'm the co-pilot. Listen, kid, I get beat up every night. You try running up the floor with Malone and Lanier. By the way, the fact that Rendon homered on his first lefty at bat, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, I didn't realize he batted left-handed.
No, he bats right-handed.
He does. I didn't realize he hit that left-handed.
Yeah,
Why was he hitting left-handed?
because a position player was pitching.
Oh, okay.
He went yard.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I've got text.
I love the scene where like he just keeps sweating.
Yes.
Final point.
You're a great player and all, but my dad says you don't play defense.
The hell I don't.
And on
You drag your ass up down the court with Lanier.
Walton and Lanier, right?
Lanier,
Yep.
82 times a year.
See how you
my
feel.
ass every night.
R.I.P. Bob Lanier.
I just like that people are texting airplane lines. Do you like movies about gladiators?
Have you spent any time in a Turkish
Yep, that's
prison?
exactly what I'm going.
I got to admit, if I got 4 hours left to live, Blazing Saddles and Airplane back to.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Bill Bender of the Sporting News to join us in roughly 20 minutes' time. John Forslund at the top of the hour.
If you've never texted the show, it might be a good time to do so now. Text the keyword FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. Then you're in, and you can text as much or as little as you would like. Like this texter says, don't let them try you, Felipe. Pilots train on that same simulator. I've done it, Mark. It's not that hard. I did it in a Cessna.
If you're just joining us, a passenger on a private flight, the pilot becomes incapacitated. He steps in, pulls an Al Haig, I'm in charge here, puts the headsets on, radios with, master control there or whatever, and they talk him through it, and he lands the sucker at Palm Beach. And this is an important point of emphasis, Mark, because Felipe kept harping on this. Palm Beach International Airport. Right.
Big runway.
Felipe is saying, ladies and gentlemen, no big deal. No big deal. I played Call of Duty. I've done the whole flight simulator thing when I was 9, on a computer. I got this. It's no problem.
Battlefield, they got VTOL jets, all that stuff.
It is our poll question. A passenger in a single-engine Cessna was forced to land the plane after the pilot had a medical emergency. Felipe says he could land the plane. Do you think you could land the plane? Right now, 50-50 of yes, I got this, and no bleeping way.
I had a GameCube game when I was like 4 of Top Gun.
This is unbelievable. He wants us to put our lives in his hands. He's hurting the cause.
My final point.
Every time he speaks.
This is my final point. In this situation, you're in a Cessna with 6 people. You want the guy with the most confidence. And in the words of Odell Beckham Jr., I'm him.
Listen, you standing up before us and saying, I love me some me is not going to get you into that cockpit.
Yeah.
We
don't have confidence in you.
And I love my diva wide receivers, but this has landed a plane.
You have as much confidence as me as you do in yourself, which is none. I have confidence in myself.
No. I'd throw you out of the plane before I'd let you land it.
Wait, not out of the cockpit.
Right out of the damn plane. Right into the Atlantic.
I will say, Felipe, with the pitch that you gave us, and if I couldn't, and I think I could, because physically I'm twice your size, but I am older, so who knows? Maybe you would win the battle to get into the cockpit. And if you won the battle to get into the cockpit, I would be the one by the emergency door thinking, okay, at what height can I jump out?
All right, here's what I'd do. I'd fly over the coast, drop you guys off, plop you in the ocean first, then I land the plane. Safe landing.
Another texter says, I have a buddy that's a pilot for a major airplane. Says there's really not a lot of math. That's a myth. So Felipe's back in.
Yeah, no, it's a very easy mathematical equation. The ground. There it is. A big one.
Don't go straight into it, but go back wheels first, front wheels.
Right.
That's how he did it on the flight simulator.
Right, when he was 9.
Man, I landed on carriers. Try me. Got to hook the cord,
No. We've seen it, the movie Top Gun and everything.
Yeah, we saw the movie too.
Right. Uh-huh.
In fact, we saw it in the theater. We're that old.
I'm answering this poll question.
Wow.
I just hope our audience has confidence in themselves.
Well, the question is, do they have confidence in themselves? I think after listening to you, it's basically, would they allow you to be the one to enter the cockpit to land this sucker?
I almost want to change the poll question. Would you let Felipe?
Right.
Would you rather have Felipe fly the plane, or would you take your chances having never done it before?
I will say you're selling it hard, and I don't know if in the moment that's a good thing. That's our poll question.
Gator Nation says it may not be pretty, but we'll walk away from it.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
That's all we need.
That's the definition of a good landing. Any one that you walk away from.
I'm fine with that.
And to answer someone's questions, I have seen Sully before. That's an amazing movie. Amazing story, too.
Listen, I really don't think the whole simulator, I've seen it in the movie things, just a good selling point.
I don't know about you, but every time he keeps talking about the simulator, I get more and more scared.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I'm landing this bird in the Hudson.
Which would be great if we were in the New York metropolitan area. But remember, we're landing it at Palm Beach
International Airport.
Right. Big runways.
Big
runways. Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Plenty of leeway on that one.
Well, no, there's plenty of leeway in the United States of America. There's a vast lot of land. Okay. It's just most of it's a really sudden hard stop if you don't do it right. You got to go 1 for 1 also. Okay.
Yeah, this isn't like producing Miller and Moulton where you can make 3-4 airs in a show and get away with
Right.
it. One air.
Right.
It's either a perfect game or death, basically.
Right. I mean, I don't know if there's a, sacrifice fly type landing that can work. I guess it's like really rough, but you walk away from it, I guess.
Well, sacrifice fly means somebody goes down. I don't want to sacrifice anybody.
Well, that's true. There is an out with a sack fly. That's true.
I might take off again and then just do a barrel roll and then.
Right. I'm going to drop you guys off and then I'm going to land this the right way.
Wow.
I don't know. We thought it was impressive. Felipe, not so much. Not so much. Miller and Moulton. Tom Brady. Here's a question. This should have been our poll question. It really should have. We should have just gone for the easy, obvious, no-brainer. Do you think Tom Brady will be a good analyst?
Let's put up 2. Let's play 2 today.
I mean, that's the easy question. Do you think Tom Brady will be a good analyst? I'll make one prediction. He doesn't do the 10 years. No way. I'd bet a lot of money on that.
Why?
Well, first off, because it's every week. I mean, it's every week now. Like when this story broke at around 9:00 yesterday during our show, we talked about it during the bonus hour. And I said the schedule that Joe and Troy had with Fox was they did 15 Thursdays, but they only did 10 out of 18 Sundays. I mean, this is every weekend. You're not there. It's about 22 weeks in a row. I think that will get old. I do.
He retired for 10 days.
Yeah, well, not 10 weeks, but yes. Right. Uh-huh. I'm wondering if his family said, you got to get out of here, man. You're a handful.
He must be a pain in the ass
Boy,
around the house.
I'll tell you, everybody's blaming the family. I think we got to look inward here.
I'm totally with you on that.
I think we just got to start blaming TB12 here. Also, he'll never be as good an analyst as he is a player. All right, that's number one. And as somebody who's that driven, and he's going to get criticized more as an analyst than he ever did as a player.
He'll make more mistakes.
And I don't know how crazy he's going to be about that. He's got a production company. He's got very talented, creative people who can handle his social media. He can control a lot of the narrative. A live game, you can't control the narrative. And I'll give you an example. Drew Brees. Drew Brees spent his entire adult life working his way to the moment of becoming, he's going to replace Collinsworth. He's going to become the number one guy at NBC. He's going to make $20 million a year for 15 years. He's going to make more money or as much money broadcasting as he did as an NFL player. He's right there, poised to take over for Collinsworth. They have forced Al Michaels out. Tirico's going to replace him. Well, they hired Breeze to force Collinsworth out. He's going to move into the seat as well. And he's doing the Raiders-Bengals playoff game. And there's a lot that happens down the stretch of that game. A couple of controversies, a call, coaching decisions, the whole deal. And Breeze wasn't up to the task. That's it. By the way, That's it. All of a sudden, Breeze pushed to the side. Collinsworth, a long-term extension. Talk about, I don't think Drew Brees is the guy. They're stuck with him for a few more years. We'll put him on Notre Dame football. He can still do the studio show, but nope, he's not the guy. We're going to have to find somebody else 3, 4, 5 years down the road to replace Collinsworth. Boom, just like that. All of a sudden, Drew Brees, nope, not the guy. Not good enough. Now, we'll see.
Right.
If he gets a second chance.
And they typically get, Olsen's gotten a second chance, and now he's going to be the number one guy. He had to go back and play for a year to get the second chance, but he did get a second chance.
Right.
And was better the second time around.
Mm-hmm. But being the number 2 is still, you're protected. Most of the country's not watching your games, and most of the critics are not really paying attention to what you're saying.
No, not until the playoffs come.
There was no protection for Drew Brees that day. None. It was a playoff game. Obviously, by itself, 3.5 hours, 30 million people are watching. Every media critic is watching. They couldn't cover for him. That could happen to Brady, too. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get big mouth. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That is great. The Rendon home run.
I agree.
See, people always bash baseball, but then moments like that in the regular season happen, and it's like, wow. A lot of charming moments in baseball. Chris Paul has big ears.
Andrew Siciliano has big ears.
I forgot who it was in the Twitch chat, but I totally forgot about from Airplane. Someone goes, I take my chances with the blow-up doll.
He's a good dude, but yes.
Okay.
I know.
But he shouldn't be on television.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
But he went to Syracuse, so he gets a job. It is amazing. Should have gone to Syracuse.
I remember my mother and I had a conversation. She's like, you want to go into, I go, yeah. She goes, well, what are the schools you should be going to? I said, Syracuse and Missouri. We looked up how much they cost. She said, I love you. You're not going to Syracuse.
Private?
I think so, because it's not part of the New York State system. Oh,
Private university.
Yeah, because it's not like Binghamton State. We used to be State University of Binghamton, Cortland, Oneonta. They're all part of the SUNY system. College was cheap when I went to it, man. My mom's listening right now going, no, it wasn't, but man, it was. It was like a little over 100 a credit.
I was less than that in state. We had trimesters. Like 50, 60 bucks a credit hour, 70 bucks a credit hour, something like that.
My first year or two at Scranton, I think it was 125 a credit.
That's about what it was for out of state at Michigan State. Sounds about right.
Well, and think of DC, the advantage Olsen's going to have this year. Even if he has good, bad, or indifferent, everybody knows he's getting replaced. So everybody's going to give him a pass. Then he's going to go back to being the number 2 guy, and he'll work however many years until Tom leaves, and then he'll assume the mantle. And he won't even be 50, and he'll have the number 1 job, and he'll have a great life.
Look, Chaz, I think that's your name. I know it's difficult, but I'm the man for the job.
We got it, Felipe.
Put me in, coach.
We got it. You
Put
can
me
fly
in,
the plane.
coach. I can get us a rain out. Remember Bill Bender coming up here.
Nope.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for listening. John Forslund, talk a little hockey at the top of the hour. Our buddy Seth Everett to join us 1 hour from now. Our poll question: a passenger on a single-engine Cessna was forced to land the plane after the pilot had a medical emergency. Felipe says he could land the plane. Do you think you could land the plane? The choices are, oh, yeah, I got this, and no bleeping way. Right now, yeah, I got this. 59% of the vote.
Confident bunch we have, David.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News is kind enough to join us. You can follow him on Twitter at BillBender92. Bill, I think you heard the question on hold. You think you could land the Cessna?
You would. I don't think I would not want to do it. I would try, but I don't like the results.
Bill, if it's you, me, and Mark, we're passengers. Felipe's sales pitch to us as to why he was the one that was going to enter the cockpit was, I have done this on a computer simulator. I have played Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that it's probably somewhat similar, but I mean, yeah, I played that on Top Gun Nintendo game. That doesn't mean I can land a plane.
Could you imagine we're on the plane, Felipe makes his sales pitch, and Bill goes, well, I've done Top Gun Nintendo, and you and I would be going, which one are we going with?
Right. Exactly. Well, Bill, which one are we going with here? I will say we'll transition to college football, why we brought you on, but the Wild Wild West is going on. The meetings, and they want to crack down on NIL. I thought the agents came out and said, this is cute. This is neat. Really good try. Do you see any way to put the toothpaste back in the tube?
Not without making a mess. I guess that's where we're at. Obviously they let it out, and now once Now, you can't really regulate it the way you want. I think there does need to be some regulation of it, and I think what they're fearing is what's going on, Not so much the money, because, I mean, a lot of these student athletes are going to get that money. The collectives have become an issue. We're getting so much closer to pay to play that these guys would be university employees anyway, and that might be the next step.
Well, it's funny, Bill. We had Darren Heitner on, who's one of the leaders behind this NIL movement, and he said, obviously, that brings about a whole other issue because, Bill, that's what we thought. The only way we've been able to control salaries in major sports in this country is with a salary cap, but you can only have that with employees. I mean, Bill, you spent a lot of time in the Columbus area. What's Gene Smith, the athletic director of Ohio State, really trying to get at here?
Well, I think the one thing when he was talking last week about the possibility of the major schools breaking off and from the NCAA and just joining the college football playoff and doing their own thing, I listen when that gets my ears perked up because, one, Gene's plugged in. He doesn't say that kind of stuff if that hasn't at least been talked about. And two, if they can do that, then they can regulate their league the way they want. And they could probably make it an NFL light. They could probably put a salary cap on it. They could do those kind of things. But in the current format with the NCAA, the way they just kind of let it go and let it happen last year, and as soon as it happened, I don't think any of us envisioned it being this crazy this quickly. But then again, I think everybody's hoping the market will correct itself. And with college and the emotion behind it and the people behind it, there's no guarantee that will happen.
Bill, is there anybody that can replace Mark Emmert? And I'm not even sure there is, but is there anybody in your estimation that can be put into the job of running the NCAA that, one, will give it credibility, but two, that can actually do something of substance to change what's going on right now? Or are we too far down the road?
I mean, well, two things there. I mean, Mark Emmert is an easy target. He's like any other commissioner of any sport. I mean, tell me which one of the pro sports commissioners is popular. I would say none, because they're the person you blame when something goes wrong. So it won't be easy to find somebody. I think that's one thing. But as college football specific, I still think there needs to be a commissioner of college football because at the end of the day, these conferences, they talk about all the issues, but the conferences protect themselves first. And that hasn't changed. You know what I mean? Like the SEC is out for the SEC's interest. The Big Ten, same deal. The Big 12, all those things. And that's why when there's a major problem in college football, it takes a long time to fix. That's every bit the problem, the same as the NCAA's governance.
Well, Bill, and we're talking with Bill Bender of the Sporting News. He covers college football for a living. Follow Bill on Twitter, Bill Bender 92. We've always contended, Bill, that there's no way the conference commissioners will give up some of their power to a neutral entity that could then rule against them someday. Why would Greg Sankey do that? Why would the Big Ten commissioner do that? Do you ever think that the issues, the huge money issues that we are talking about here, do you think that that will be serious enough that they would ever agree to a commissioner? Because we don't think they ever will.
I think you're right. I think that they probably never will, just because, again, everybody protects their own silo first. And then, there's when a major issue comes up, then sometimes they put aside their differences. I mean, this is why we don't have an expanded college football playoff right now, is everybody is protecting their own interests. They can't come up with the right plan or whatever. And part of it is, let's be honest, is they had a plan, and then that all changed when Oklahoma and Texas went to the SEC, because now there's that lack of trust, I guess, among some of the commissioners. I mean, because you got to believe that when all that playoff plan was going, and Greg Sankey was taking Oklahoma and Texas, and I don't have a problem with him doing it, But I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why there's a little bit of heightened distrust among the commissioners.
Well, there's no doubt there's heightened distrust. But Jack Swarbrick a couple of weeks ago said, talked about taking their ball and starting their own league. How long do you think it will take for something like that to happen, for there to be a 48-team separate superpower conference?
Well, I mean, it obviously can't happen overnight, but he mentioned, I think, like 10 years that could happen within 10 years. I'll say this, 2026 will be an interesting year in college football because the playoff will be expired. I don't know if there'll be any more conference realignment type moves. Certainly possible. I mean, last summer, when I pulled up the Big Ten Media Day, the last thing I expected to write about was Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC, but it happened. They could make their own super league of pick your number of schools to go play by themselves, and that absolutely could happen because we're still dealing with a sport that has no I mean, I don't want to say parity. There's it's still a lot of fun, but when you're picking your playoff for next year, if you're not picking Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, the usual, you're probably making a mistake.
When the Big Ten announces their new media deal, and we've heard anywhere from it'll happen near the end of this month to it'll happen when the Big Ten meets for media days. But Bill, Kevin Warren reportedly is going to announce a deal that is going to make the SEC blush. It is so lucrative. Do you think then that Kevin and the Big Ten become the SEC equal, if you know what I mean, where he can look at Greg eye to eye and go, I know I'm new here, but financially I'm every bit as big as you. In fact, I'm bigger. So we need to compromise.
I mean, maybe. Those two are the two college football conferences that drive the bus, obviously. The Big Ten gets a lot of money off basketball, too. I think the Big Ten's a better basketball conference. They don't have Kentucky, but they have a better basketball conference. But to be equal in football, though, Big Ten's got to win some national championships. I mean, that's something the SEC can hang over them. They've had how many different programs win national championships since the BCS era? 6? I'm trying to count in my head. Tennessee, Florida, Auburn, LSU, Alabama.
In Georgia.
I'm leaving somebody.
Georgia.
Somebody else. Georgia. That's 6. Almost half of its leagues won a national championship. Half of the programs in its conference can wake up and expect to win a national championship and mean it. So the Big Ten has one program that's won a national championship since the BCS era. And, Michigan finally made the playoff and broke through, but that's a 2-team conference in a lot of ways. So I think from the football standpoint, the money might be even or close to even, but there isn't a better football conference than the SEC right now.
Yeah, I just meant, though, that money talks. And you're right. I mean, the SEC's got the pelts on the wall. I just figured that from a business standpoint, that Warren, unlike the other 3 conferences really combined, that Warren will be able to look at Sankey and go, hey, we're on different sides of the aisle here, but we drive this bus. We got to figure this out.
Yeah, they are the two that do that. I mean, you can look at the NFL draft, and the numbers of those 2 conferences are disproportionate, and they're on different sides as far as this playoff expansion goes. The Big Ten has made some weird moves. I mean, the alliance was a weird thing that didn't really make sense and still doesn't really make sense to me. The SEC, the difference is, I think, whatever they do, the SEC is going to be like, okay, and I think in its current form that's going to last for a while.
Bill Bender, the Sporting News. Follow him on Twitter at BillBender92. Bill, appreciate you making time for us. Enjoy the rest of your off season. Hopefully we can talk right before the season starts.
Hey, let's do that. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
Bill Bender, Sporting News, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
A lot of text, David. No one cares about college football.
No, I know that.
They care about the Cessna. But I will say on this college football thing, I see what your point is on the money with the Big Ten. And I actually understand the alliance completely. To me, the alliance is because Warren thinks he's got 2 voters with him, no matter what they do.
Well, and he did last time. I mean, they torpedoed the grand playoff plan.
I don't see what the alliance does for the ACC and the Pac-12. I see what it does for the Big Ten. I think in order for what you're talking about, for Sankey and Warren to get on the same page, I do think Warren at some point is going to have to leave that alliance and sit down with Sankey and say, yeah, I don't care about the ACC. I don't care about the Pac-12. What do we need to do to go forward?
Yeah, I just brought them along to stop you.
Right.
That. I know that. Now that we're here, let's enjoy a steak and work this out.
That's the only way it happens to me. He's got to dump that alliance.
Think about the SEC, the point Bill Bender made, though. 6 of the 14 have won a national championship. Both Oklahoma and Texas in the BCS era won a national title in the Big 12. So when you could literally then it would be half of the conference, if you will, when that happens.
I was going to ask him when he said there's the Big Ten's basically a 2-team conference. I'm trying to figure out who the second team is. Wisconsin?
It rotates every year.
I was going to say.
One year it's Michigan, then it's Michigan State, then it's Wisconsin.
Because don't give me this crap that it's Michigan after one good year.
Penn State a few years ago. Iowa's had a few moments. It just the number 2 role.
Okay.
It's a revolving door. That's all. Hey, it's the same in the ACC, man.
I got you. But the perception for all those years was it was Michigan and Ohio State.
Right.
It's not. It's Ohio State and everybody else.
Correct.
I get it. Michigan won last year. It had to happen sooner or later.
But yes, we just filled a content segment to allow the text to build up so that you could read them.
What about the tree line right before the airfield?
Well, it's an international airport, so it's a very big tree line.
It's also a very long runway.
First time I flew a Cessna, my buddy said you could land this no problem. Of course, he didn't let me try. And then this one. I like the kid's confidence. I'd give him a shot.
Here you go. Talked your way into the cockpit with him.
In the face of chaos and adversity.
What you're trying
Who
to
are you
say?
going to go to?
You're the calm in the storm?
Look, D. Wade's my favorite player of all time. D. Wade is calm in the clutch.
Because he's your favorite player, does that mean you are also calm in the clutch?
It is inspiring.
I have watched you panic over an exam
I don't know
work assignments in school every day for months back there.
We watched you panic getting guests on the phone. We're going to allow you to land a plane?
I'm trying to impress you guys.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Have a game tonight?
I don't know. Not tonight, because it's an Espen night. So he'll have a game Thursday. I don't know which one, because it's a whole Turner night. I asked him about Seattle.
Yeah. You know, at some point today, we got to announce this golf tournament.
That's true. We're having a golf tournament.
I'm so panicked. You know how much work's got to be done for this?
Oh. So the name of the company is Southwest Florida Golf Carts.
Right.
They go by FL Golf Carts.
FLGolfCarts.com is their
Right.
website.
Right. John Forslund, Felipe.
What?
John Forslund.
I got you.
They said they had never seen a rat at Nats Park before. They had seen a few other things, but they had never seen a rat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, Wancho. Hell, you could just come, get the shirt, have lunch. We could shoot the bull.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network. Our buddy Seth Everett is coming up in a little more than 35 minutes time. For our money, he is the best hockey play-by-play man in North America. He is John Forslund, who has just finished his first year as the voice of the Seattle Kraken and is back doing the NHL playoffs on TNT and TBS. John, it's David and Mark. It's been a long year. We left you alone. We didn't want to wake you up at 4:30 in the morning to do a guest spot. How the hell have you been?
I've been great, and if you're going to say those nice things about me, I'll wake up every morning like this. This is terrific.
Well, we say them because we believe them, John, and we have for a long time. You know that.
It.
Hey,
appreciate it, fellas.
How was, you spent a lot of time in Raleigh working for the Canes. I don't know if it's a culture shock. I don't know what it would be, but from the Southeast to the Pacific Northwest, just how was the year?
The year was fantastic. It was professionally invigorating, re-energized my career. I think, going into the season, I told a lot of people that not many of us that do this get a chance to mark time with a franchise twice, let alone once. So I was lucky enough to move from Hartford with the team in '97 and take it to a virgin market here in Raleigh and see what happened with the Hurricanes over time. And then unfortunately, things happened and I moved on and got out there. And this season has been remarkable in terms of the energy from the fans. The Kraken have run a first cabin organization. They had their struggles on the ice, but telling that story and kind of articulating what they were going through made it interesting. I got to break in a first-year guy in JT Brown, and he and I hit it off and have great chemistry. I love him. I think he's going to be really, really good at this moving forward. And so that's been great. And then over the course of the season, I did a few games during the regular year for the folks at Turner, and going to do some playoff games here and call the Eastern Conference Final on radio. So we're not done yet. Everything's good.
I was in Seattle days before the Kraken were going to debut, and I was reading the paper, and it was fascinating. We've all been a part of a community where they have a special section. So they have this special section, and literally you talked about a virgin market. John, there was a 3-page story explaining to the people of the Pacific Northwest hockey, the basic rules. And it just struck me because obviously we're all sports guys. We just assume that, everybody can walk and chew gum and kind of keep up with us. And I remember sitting there reading it going, oh my goodness, that's how new this is.
Well, hockey is a unique game in the fact that you always learn about the game. Even someone like myself that's been, never played it professionally, but have been in the game doing what I do for almost 40 years, I'm learning. So you look at the Pacific Northwest, right? And yes, it's a virgin market for the NHL, although they actually won a Stanley Cup that goes all the way back to the days of the first pandemic 100 years ago. But the irony of the whole thing that the two pandemics, I still can't get over that. But anyway, getting back to the point here, the Seattle people in the Seattle region, the Northwest, is rich in major junior hockey. So you have the Seattle Thunderbirds, the Everett Silvertips, the Portland Winterhawks, the Spokane Chiefs, Tri-City Americans. You've got all these teams where the majority of National Hockey Leaguers have come from over time, yet there's still a lot of people who are new to it and have never seen the game. And really, guys, those are the best fans. The people who have never seen the game don't come in with any built-in opinions about it. from their past. They see it new, they see it live, and then they're captivated by the energy and the skill of the players, and then they love the game. And the only way to love the game further is to follow it on television and radio. So, this is the beauty of getting this thing kicked off. And I'll tell you what was different too, and it's interesting, is that Seattle, as you know, is a hardened sports market with professional teams. It's way different than Raleigh. When we brought the Hurricanes to Raleigh, it was a college atmosphere, and they weren't really used to what goes on with pro sports. So in other words, the pressure coming from the fans wasn't really there if you weren't very good. And in the first year, people think it was a honeymoon. It really wasn't. The fans started not to turn on the team. Their support and loyalty was always there, but the pressure was there. So it was a front burner item on radio, in the newspapers. What's wrong with the Kraken? Why aren't they better? Why can't they accomplish what Vegas did? And I think that's good for a team, because the apathy aspect of it is not good. When you go out of sight, out of mind, like we did for some years here in Raleigh when the team wasn't very good, it's not a good place. So I like that fact, and we'll see what happens in year 2.
Well, the boys in Raleigh last night got it done. Very impressive fashion, winning Game 5 against Boston. John, with this East as competitive as it is, do you think there's a favorite in the end? I know it's got to be someone that's up 3-2, but is there a team you think is the best team in the East, or is it still just a crapshoot?
It's really a great crapshoot, because I use the word great in front of a word like crapshoot. That doesn't even make sense, does it? But I think the key here is that there are great teams that are going to go home, and that's unfortunate. And when those teams lose in the first round, the managements of those teams are going to have to be very careful in terms of what they do next. It's going to be easy to knee jerk and make some decisions. And, say, for instance, Florida somehow gets upset. What do? That's a great team. I think they can win the series still, and it's on level ground, and huge game obviously coming up. But, what happens if? Same thing with the Lightning. What happens if? I mean, they're in control of that game early last night. It slipped away. It was right there for them again in the third period when McDonough scored. And then it's one of those deals. It's a transitional play the other way, quick strike, two of the best players in the world, Marner and Matthews combined, game over. Now the Lightning come home and have to do what they did, in the fourth game, and that show their championship pedigree. But someone's going home in that series, and you cannot pick a favorite in the Eastern Conference. You can in the West, but you cannot pick a favorite in the Eastern Conference.
John, do you think this year's playoffs, I mean, everybody in the East with 100 or more points, do you think this is going to lead to the NHL going back to how they did it in the late 70s, which was a 1-16 deal? I remember first round was best of 3 in the late 70s. I remember the Rangers having to play the LA Kings in a best of 3 and, 1-1-1. But I'm just wondering, getting out of the division, I mean, let's face it, you'd love to be in certain divisions as opposed to others. Do you think when, let's just say potentially, Tampa Bay, Florida, certain teams like that, if they end up home, that the league looks at one another and goes, maybe we need to make it a little, I don't want to say easier, but different to move on?
Yeah, I think I'd like to see it happen. I think it's really difficult to pull off on a consistent basis. I think you could do it for a couple of years, and then we would be right back to having the same conversation again. So if you go way back in time, and when I was working in the minor leagues in the 80s, 89, 90, I think was the year. And the 4 best teams in the league that season were in the Adams division, bar none. And Hartford was 4th in the Adams division that season, and they had the 7th best record in the NHL. And they lost in the first round because they could never get by Boston. They could never get by Montreal. They even had a tough time with Quebec. It was just one of those deals, but all the power was there. And then you had the old Norris division, right? The Norris, where teams were below 500 and making the playoffs, but it was a 1-4 divisional. There's some good to that because rivalries, burgeoned out of the 1-4, and you're always playing the same teams. And then the negative to that is people say, well, it's the same team every year in the playoffs. We're sick of it. So then when Bettman came in, he went to like the basketball model, the 1-8 in the conferences, and that's worked. And I think by and large it's worked. But I think it is, your point's well taken. I think there has to be some kind of reward for being great, for being the President's Trophy winner or close. I think the only way you make that happen is to go to maybe an expansion of the playoffs and have a play-in week or 4 or 5 days where those teams that are at the top of their conferences get a little bit of a breather. Those other teams that are trying to get in play each other and get tired. And then as a favored team or a team at the top of the conference, you get a chance in your first round matchup to play a team that's already played and maybe is injured a little bit or tired just to get in and try and take advantage of that. That's not always going to work in hockey, though, because a hot goalie could come in all tuned up and knock out the favorite and would be having the same conversation again. The other thing to do, guys, is go 1 through 16 and throw out the conferences. With travel today, I think it's doable. That's my theory. I think that would work. But, again, you get to parity. But I think that in a league that is filled with parity, that makes sense. Number one plays 16 and so on. That might be a way to do it.
All right. You spent the year with Seattle. You watch the West pretty closely. Do you think Colorado gains an advantage by the sweep in getting the time off? And how good is this Avalanche team when you break it down in the West?
Well, Colorado did it last year, right? And it didn't help them. Time off is never good. There's no really perfect science to these playoffs. You take the rest. They will. You hope it doesn't create rust. I don't think it will because they went through it last year. So they have that in the back of their minds. They are outstanding. They are my pick to come out of the West. They were my pick at the start of the season in the West. They didn't let anybody down. They're going to get Darcy Kemper back in goal, and he's going to be healthy, and that's going to be something they really need. They can't move forward really without him. The backup isn't going to do it, I don't think, over the long term. So that'll be good for them. But the Minnesota-St. Louis thing is really interesting because those two teams are really good. And those two teams, whoever wins that series, are capable of pushing Colorado, pushing them to a point where then that will be, I think, Colorado's toughest series of the playoffs until they get to the final. I think the next step, with all due respect to Calgary, whoever comes out of that, I think Calgary will. Edmonton, Los Angeles, I don't think so. I think in a conference final, the Avalanche will be rolling so well if they do get by a Minnesota or St. Louis, that's going to put them in a really good spot. But there's a lot of variance in the West that we don't see in the East. The East is where everything is in terms of how great the teams are, how close everything is. So I think Colorado will have enough to get it done.
John, best of luck in the playoffs with the calls, wherever you may be. We will follow you. We know you were in Tampa for Game 4. Best of luck Thursday night on TBS or TNT, and hopefully we can talk later on in the playoffs.
I'll be happy to, and I will be in Tampa for Game 6.
Awesome. John Forslund, the NHL on Turner, Miller and Moulton.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, come on, Canada Relief. You know why the Oilers are in the position that they're in. Their defense and their goaltending is not good enough. Come on. Talk about a franchise that should hire Barry Trotz.
Oh,
Connor McDavid should literally walk into, who's it, Holland? Is it Ken Holland? Would walk into Ken Holland's office and say, you hire Barry Trotz or I want to trade.
tell you what, if Florida gets beat, I'd hire Barry Trotz. Because this guy's not getting the job, they don't get out of the first round.
Yes, correct.
What's the name of Florida's head coach?
Andrew Brunette. He's the interim head coach, though, because he took over like 8 games in when Quinville got fired in the aftermath of the Blackhawks sexual abuse scandal when he was the head coach of the Blackhawks. So he's still only the interim. They just moved him up and have not given him the job full time. And he ain't going to get it unless he gets out of the first round. But he made a bunch of ballsy moves in game 4, reshuffled the lineup completely, and then pulled his goalie with 3.5 to play, and it paid off. He earned his money on Monday night.
A reporter in the other night's Grizzlies press conference goes, Steven Adams, Steven, you're a big guy. And he goes, what do you mean by big, Mike? Saying I'm fit? He's like, oh, no, never. You're just a very large man. He's like, wanker, better watch yourself. It's impossible not to love that guy. The reporter goes, you're a very large man.
So the Euro Tour did the same thing the PGA Tour did.
Oh, really?
Is the Euro Tour called the DP World Tour, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it follows PGA Tour in blocking player release for Saudi-based Rebel Series.
So basically they're saying to Woosnam and, well, not Woosnam, to Westwood and Poulter and Sergio.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, that's the Euro Tour. Yeah, they followed suit. I didn't see that. That apparently came out last night. I didn't see that.
I did not either.
All right, I know you got this thing. We got to, at some point, get the golf tournament thing out, too.
Oh, we'll do it now.
Okay.
Well, goodness knows we could bring it up with Seth. I mean, who knows what we're talking about with Seth.
I saw the Geico. With Geico.
What in the
15
hell
minutes.
are you doing?
It's in you sounded like the gecko on the Geico commercials. That's what got him going. His Steven Adams impression. I will say, probably the best impression you've ever done.
Don't encourage him.
No. You're bad at impressions.
You're
not good.
That's false. I'm actually really good at impressions.
No, you're terrible.
No. Okay, once again.
Okay.
We're the audience, by the way.
I'm the audience.
Listening.
You're not good.
Right.
I have certain good ones.
No,
Some
actually,
really good ones.
No, Steven Adams. That's so far. You're 1 for
67.
I don't know. Yeah, right.
I could do a really good Trae Young. I mean, he's playing.
Here's the other thing.
They all sound exactly the same.
Hold on. Here's the other thing. You have to do people that people know.
That's the other thing.
That's another thing.
And all your imitations sound pretty much the same.
That's not true. That's cap.
We've worked with this before. We were just younger.
Can it? Can it? All right, we'll come back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Great catching up with John Forslund. Could talk to him every week. We had no money in the budget, but I could talk to him every week. Although apparently if we keep saying good things about him, he'll get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, he gave a big tell there. I'm doing the Eastern Conference Finals on radio.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
Done.
Well,
Done.
okay.
All right. This is my thing. Maybe nobody else cares, but we got a lot of hockey fans that listen. So I liked it how it was in the late 70s. All right, where it was 1 verse 16, 2-15, 3-14, and what have you. Now, we all know, those of us that follow hockey, how it goes now. You got to get out of your division, and they line it up. Florida would have been the one President's Trophy winner. They would have played Nashville. Colorado would have played Dallas. Interesting. Carolina would have played the LA Kings. Toronto would have played Washington. Minnesota would have played Pittsburgh. How about this irony? Calgary and Edmonton would have played. Boston and Tampa Bay would have played. And the Rangers and Blues would have played. That's how it would have gone if you just went by points and how they finished. That would have been the first round. Now, you could certainly argue there are sexier matchups now. There's no way to avoid that. You're working your way through your division. Your more rivalries are being played here in the first round. But you could argue that it's harder for the better teams the way it is stacked now, and usually it is stacked to get out the way the playoffs exist now.
I wouldn't argue that it's stacked more now. I think I hate the idea of eliminating conferences. I despise it. When I was listening to John Forslund talk about the Norris, I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs because of the Norris, because Detroit couldn't get past them, and it developed a hatred for a team. And I'm not an idiot that would do dumb things, but I don't like the Leafs. I'll never like the Leafs,
right?
Because when I was 16 and 15, they were crushing the team I was rooting for.
Right.
I don't like having playoffs where Carolina's playing the LA Kings in the first round one year, and the next year might be playing the Boston Bruins, and the following year could be playing the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I don't like East Coast teams playing 10 o'clock games in the first round of the playoffs. I don't think that does well for their fan bases.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, the way it's set up, this is the worst for the first round, but I think it's the best scenario to get more of the best teams to the end of the tournament. Now, I don't know if that's important or not. I don't. Gary Bettman doesn't think it's important. Gary Bettman's not interested in this at all. When other owners bring it up, like I will say
That's
though,
the first
Mark,
thing I've liked about Gary in a long time. Thank you, Gary.
I'll say this though: if the Lightning come back and beat the Leafs, I mean, we all know while the NHL offices, they've got offices in New York and what have you. A lot of people think Toronto runs the league. That the league is based out of Toronto, and if this Leafs team can't get out of the first round, pardon my French, the bitching that will go on because they had to play the Lightning, the best team the Leafs have put on the ice in almost 30 years, and they had to meet up with the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions.
Who would they have played if it was just the 8 in the East?
All right.
I don't know if you can pull that off there, because I have no problem if it was 1-8 on a conference side. I don't like crossing the Mississippi, so to speak, if you know what I mean. I would at least like to see the conferences stay the same.
Toronto would have played Boston. Florida would have played Washington, 1-8. Carolina would have played Pittsburgh. Toronto would have played Boston. The Rangers would have played the Lightning. That would have been it if we just did one through it like the NBA.
Now,
If we just
could you
did,
live with that, by the way?
yeah, I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine. I would easily compromise my, having the whole league in one playoffs, or just splitting it in conferences. Yeah. Once again, and we'll move on, but Florida would have played Washington, Carolina would have played Pittsburgh, Toronto would have played Boston, the Rangers would have played the Lightning. So one of the current matchups would have existed, the Panthers Cap series. Everything else would have been different. That's all.
All right. We've been neglecting this for the majority of the show, and it's kind of on us here.
What's that?
We're supposed to make a little bit of an announcement, a little bit of a tease. We're 2.5 hours in.
Right. Well, we were just waiting. This is kind of the peak listenership hour. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We were
It's
waiting.
a hell of a story.
Thank you. But
I'm sticking with it too. That's good stuff right there.
So here's the deal. This is the first year Miller and Moulton with the Florida Sports Network, and we want to have a nice long run here and what have you. But it's easy when you're in one market. It's harder when you're in multiple. But it took us a little while. Here's the deal. We want to get out and about around the state. We want to have some golf tournaments. Just meet people, raise some money for charities and local communities, that sort of deal. So we think we're starting in a month in Southwest Florida, and we're going to have a golf tournament. Then we think sometime in the middle of summer, we're going to have a golf tournament for our Port Charlotte, Venice audience. And we are hoping to even make it up to Lake City for right around the beginning of football season. So we're putting it together. We're hoping for 3 golf tournaments between late spring and late summer. And we're pretty sure a month from now, West Bay and Estero. It's a very nice track. We'll get you a shirt, logos on it and everything. All right. It's not going to be, a t-shirt.
How about just a plain white t-shirt?
No.
Okay.
Not one of those that shrinks half its size. No. Nice shirt you're actually going to wear more than once. We'll feed you, put you on a nice golf course, raise a little money for charity. Hot steaming deal, as we like to say.
I will say we'll have all the information here in the next couple of days to sign up and all those things. But if you are interested, I would ask that you text us. FSN Radio to 21,000. Say, I'm interested in the golf tournament. That way I can keep track of you and I can follow up with you. And I mean that sincerely because, well, David doesn't know how to run the text line all that well.
He's being kind. We'd like to thank the good folks at Southwest Florida Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com. They are going to sponsor our Southwest Florida golf tournament, and we thank them for that.
You know what they have? They have the carts your wife wants.
I know they do.
They've got the blinged out. They could get you the pink blinged out golf cart that your wife has always wanted.
Looked at Brian. That's exactly what I said to Brian yesterday. I go, my wife, I mean, honestly, the only thing I could do to keep her from leaving me for John Bon Jovi is to get her a bling pink golf cart. Can you do it?
Oh, they can do it.
He goes, oh, I can do it. Oh, we can do this.
That's your spot.
The big question on the show today is, could you land a Cessna? Apparently, there was a pilot who was incapacitated, and, guy got up, went into the cockpit, and landed a Cessna at West Palm International Airport.
Right, the wide runways.
Right. And Felipe, matter-of-factly, confidently, wasn't that impressed and said, hell, I could do that.
It's not that I wasn't impressed.
No, you weren't impressed.
You weren't impressed
you
at
were
all.
not impressed.
You were dismissive. You were so not impressed, you were dismissive of the story.
You were. You almost incredulous as to us boasting about what this guy did.
You didn't think this was the good. You thought this was the below average.
You're like, hell, I could do that before lunch.
And if you don't believe us,
listen to the tape.
Go back and listen to your voice. Because you were and it was more so during the break than it really was on air. You were just laughed us out of the room.
Because Mark wanted to save this story for the good, bad, and ugly, and Felipe was like, come on, it's not that big a deal.
You were so dismissive, it became a 7:00 segment.
Yeah, find something else to talk about, please. So Felipe's literally in our poll question. Felipe says he could land a Cessna because, he played Call of Duty and he's been a simulator and what have you. And so we ask, hey, could you land the Cessna in the same situation?
Texter says you'd be amazed at what people can accomplish when facing mortality. I say give Felipe a chance because where are you going to go?
That's a good one.
In fact, that should have been your selling point. You should have, because we're envisioning the three of us on the plane, and Felipe talks his way into the cockpit, and he turns, he looks at Miller and Moulton, and he goes, guys, where are you going to go?
You gonna jump out?
Well,
Where are you gonna go?
It's certainly
Actually-
it's on the top 3.
Yeah, I think we would have waited. Let's see. How far up do we have to be before we jump? Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I would be. He doesn't have his earphones on. I'll land that shit with a John Smith sub in my mouth, bro.
Yeah, he's on.
Ah, there you go, Jimmy. Good old college try.
There he is.
Well, well, well.
Hi, Seth.
Hi,
You there, Seth?
He's there.
I'm here.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Got the Marvel shirt going.
That's marvelous.
Ah,
It
good
is
one.
marvelous.
What do you got there? Oh, okay.
Little Rogers the musical.
Oh, nice.
Hot new Broadway show
Little Easter egg.
based on the events of a film called The Avengers.
How'd that do?
It was a bit of a hit.
All
You
right,
guys
Seth.
watch
let's
Toronto Tampa last night?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good stuff. Did you watch that draft lottery? I did.
Second pick.
Of course,
Second
right?
pick.
Unfortunately, these last 10 years, that's just about all you guys have
It's
had
our
the
best day of the year.
lottery.
I
Yeah.
was listening to NHL radio yesterday, and before
sorry.
you say I'm sorry, I am too. But they had a draft guy on, and the guy at the top was supposed to be the end all be all, and now they're saying he might not even go first overall, and that this is a bad draft.
Wow. Okay. I just don't think we need another center. And I thought if we had the fourth or fifth pick, they were going to trade it to Minnesota for Kevin Fiala.
Did you catch the number of wheeze there?
At least two.
Oh, I said the wheeze.
Yeah.
I've been hanging with my kid. My kid is a big wee person.
She's really into the Devils. This
She's
is
really
quite
into it.
bonding
Does
experience.
she have a
Yeah.
jersey?
But
Have you
she
bought her-
stayed up with me and watched Toronto Tampa.
Okay,
together.
so she's a hockey fan now.
She's become a big fan. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah. I told her, I had to finish Sports with Friends, and I said I have to work, but she sat in my office. We put it on in here, and it was great.
How old is she?
13.
That's awesome.
So it's my favorite thing.
How many jerseys does she have?
Oh, she has a couple shirts, not jerseys.
Okay.
Whoa. Time to get her a jersey.
Yeah, if she wants. She's
So
very
she-
fashion. She likes to cut up the sweatshirt and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
But she had the green and red logo with the Prince of Wales Conference logo.
Wow. Look
That's a
at
cool
that.
shirt. I want to wear that, but it would look dumb on me.
Yes, it would.
I think I'm going to go to an all-defunct team wardrobe and just start, getting teams that aren't around.
Supersonics,
Yep.
Whalers.
Oilers.
Whalers, Quebec Nordiques.
Yep.
The anniversary is just a handful of days ago. The Whalers officially leaving Hartford.
Seattle Pilot, stuff like that.
There you go. That'd be fun. New Jersey Nets.
Oakland Raiders. Hello.
Right. Oakland A's. Oh,
San Diego Chargers.
I'll come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. You miss any part of the show, you can download it, floridasportsnetwork.com. We had Bill Bender of the Sporting News talking about, well, all the madness that is college football and NIL and trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. We just had John Forslund on at the top of the hour talking a little hockey. And Seth Everett is kind enough to join us now. He hosts of three great podcasts, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. You can follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. Big fan of your show. Love John Forslund.
We do too. We think he's the best in the business, and
Yeah, he's very, very good.
good that he's getting some playoff games. All right, Seth, we got to start with our poll question today because, as you know,
Oh, I
You
didn't
talk-
see it this morning.
well, you've talked to our producer, our young, very
Sure.
confident producer,
He was a very smart guy that figured out a technical snafu at the last minute.
and
Markings of a good producer. That's
I-
all I got.
yeah, well,
Felipe.
I do
I
this-
tried. That's all I could do.
No,
that's good.
That's fine. I do this good, bad, and ugly thing, and I found a story that I thought was this story that I'm like, wow, this is really cool, of a Cessna plane where the pilot is incapacitated and the passenger on the plane has to radio air traffic control and lands the plane at Palm Beach International Airport. I mean, I think that's quite a feat.
Sure.
Felipe just
Wasn't
laughed.
Kareem
off.
Abdul-Jabbar though?
No, it was not.
Oh, okay.
No, and he wasn't dragging Lanier and Walton up and down the court 80 times a year. But
48 minutes a night.
Felipe says he could land, just nonchalant. I could land the plane for two reasons. One, he had a flight simulator as a 9-year-old, and B, he played Call of Duty. Seth, do you think you could land the plane? Do you think you could be talked down into landing a plane when the pilot goes incapacitated on your Cessna flight?
You're asking me if I could do it?
Yeah.
I'd like to think I could, but I can't.
Oh, right.
No. He said, I'd like to think I could.
I'd like to think I could.
but I can't.
But I can't.
But you got to have confidence in the situation. And I am confident that I can do this.
Nah.
And I'm
You think
confident
you
I'd be a
could,
grease spot.
Right. Seth just said, you'd think you could. So in other words, we're envisioning scenarios where it's like the three of us on the plane, and Felipe's the one that stands up and pulls the Al Haig. I'm in charge here, and he goes into the cockpit. So you're saying you would not have been, the guy on the plane that stood up and said, I got this.
No, and I've thought about those like doomsday scenarios and like what I would do, like the guys who the plane that went down in Shanksville in 9/11. I'd love to think I'd be part of that. I really would. I don't know that I would.
You'd like to think you'd be the tough guy in the moment.
I'd like to think I'd be one of those guys that bum rush those hijackers and crash the plane. Like I would love to think, those heroes that did that. I'd like to think I would have been part of their little club.
But until you're there, you have no earthly idea.
No chance.
But Felipe jumped up and could land the Cessna.
Yep, done. In fact, he made it sound as if, and then after that, he'd go have lunch. I mean, it was really not that big a deal.
My apartment in Seattle was once broken into, and I kind of knew it was an inside job. It was these like maintenance guys that had access to the keys, and I was angry as all get out, and I was going to find them. And then I was thinking to myself, like, what am I going to do if I find them?
Right. I'm armed with a laptop.
Right. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to throw an iPhone at them?
But you were honked, right?
I was mad. Oh my God. I was spitting mad. I sued my building and I won.
Wait a minute. You sued your building?
Yeah, because they gave the keys without anybody's authorization. They gave the keys to these maintenance guys. These maintenance guys knew who I was from the radio. They knew when I was not going to be home. And they came to my apartment and they gave them all the information.
So you got back 13 CDs and
and an iron.
No, there was some some jewelry. There was some stuff, but I didn't get it back. I just got damages.
$1,000.
No, it was more than that.
Okay.
It was more than that.
Oh, so it was a real theft.
All right.
Yeah, it was a real theft. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I've never heard you say you sued anybody before. That's why you got
that was fun. Oh, great memories.
It was fun.
And then my lease was up and I was getting out of that building.
Well, that's awkward,
no chance
by the way. If you want to renew, that would have been awkward.
Yeah, that would have been awkward. So then I started apartment hunting, and that's when Major League Baseball called. And so I had put a deposit down on an apartment. I was going to move away, in another part of Seattle. And that's when I got the gig with MLB. And so I wound up canceling that, get the deposit back, and moved to New York.
Surprised you got the deposit back after you were on that, apartment hit list in Seattle.
Right. They all talk to one another.
They do. All those apartment people, they're friends.
So what do you think of this Brady news?
Oh, well, I'm thrilled for Kevin Burkhardt. I think that's amazing. That was my initial reaction. And I'd love to know what kind of test games they did. Kevin and I texted the other day when the news broke. What day did that happen? Monday?
No, it happened 24 hours ago.
Oh, it was yesterday. Yeah. So I texted Kevin, and he's going to do Sports with Friends over the summer. So I'm going to ask him all about working with him. I also think it kind of stinks for Greg Olson.
Hold on. You really think Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady have done a test game already together?
Yeah, I totally do.
I don't.
Oh, well, you would know better than me.
I mean, I don't, but it'd be fascinating if they did, and because that'd be another reason that the word didn't get out.
Right.
I mean, you have to admit it's pretty impressive. I mean, it is Tom flipping Brady, and this thing was kept,
very under wraps. Yeah.
Almost to the point in which it looks like Fox planted the trying to acquire Drew Brees story as a distraction.
I think so.
So nobody would catch wind of this.
Well, my whole thing with the news was, based on that documentary that he had done with ESPN and Disney Plus, I thought he was in bed with ESPN. And when, they had signed Troy Aikman, I kind of wondered, where does that put Brady? And, you have that Manning thing. These alternate casts are not making any sense to me because they're spending so much money on the main cast. It just doesn't seem like the percentages. It's like 91% are going to watch the main game and 9% are going to watch the alternate cast. And why are you doing all this? And I thought, where does Tom Brady fit in that? So I was in the ESPN mentality, and this kind of threw everybody for a loop. But I'm thrilled for Kevin. Kevin Burkhardt's one of the real good guys in the business. And, he was a car salesman who was, just working weekends trying to get radio gigs and turned it into a radio gig and then wound up getting the SNY gig. And, just a real good dude.
No doubt. One of the good guys in the business. Everyone in the industry happy that Kevin Burkhardt's the number one at Fox.
Here's the thing. Do you think Brady will be any good?
I don't know. When I listened to him talking at press conferences, when he denied deflating those footballs, it was like fingernails on a chalkboard.
That was a long time ago,
I'm not a fan. He's a cheater. That was one of the first things I taught my kids when they could talk.
Second. What? Hold on a second. You really consider him?
It's just a bit. It's just a bit. It's just a funny bit.
I didn't know.
He deflated those footballs. Should have been suspended for that Super Bowl.
Right. Hell, we didn't know about the story for years.
Deflategate. That was my favorite one. Spygate was boring, but Deflategate was great.
It's interesting you say that, though, about Brady. I never thought, both Mark and I, we were surprised, almost stunned at the news yesterday. Not the money, because when you're paying over $2 billion,
play
just
money.
rights,
it's monopoly money at this point. Right.
Okay, but if you're paying attention, so the Manning signed with ESPN, and they're doing the Manning cast, and they re-up the deal, and they're going to do more of it and all that. I just thought Brady did this whole thing on ESPN Plus because he's putting a bow on his athletic career. And this was what he wanted everybody to see and know about him and what have you. Wrap it all up. It was an image thing. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go on to my next life. We never thought he would do broadcasting, though. That's why we never thought about the whole, was he in bed with the 4-letter network or this 3-letter network? And we just never thought he'd do this.
There's a great media podcast that John O ran from the Sports Business Journal and Andrew Marchand, who's an old colleague of mine. They do this podcast, and they were speculating on who was going to be Burkhardt's partner. And they were talking about how Fox was looking for reasons to not have Greg Olsen, even though Greg Olsen's more than qualified, but they were just trying to find somebody that was going to make a headline. And now you found that guy. The only difference is, doesn't Fox have the Super Bowl this year?
Right. Yes.
So Greg Olsen's going to do the Super Bowl this year?
Well,
unless the Bucs don't make it.
Then he's got a really good shot at doing the Super Bowl. If Tampa Bay's not playing in the Super Bowl, I don't think Greg Olsen's doing the Super Bowl.
What if Tom Brady is in it and does the Super Bowl?
Now we've got a good broadcast.
Like how ESPN puts Ray Ferraro down on the ice?
So when the Bucs are on defense in the game, Fox will throw it down to Brady.
Breaking it down.
Tom, what are you seeing?
Well, that offensive lineman's got a block to his left. What is he doing?
Looks like I'm seeing blitz again, and I've been checking off the whole game, and they don't have anything for it.
Some guy on his bench just overhearing him, going, "What are you doing? What are you saying that for?"
Throw it down to Erin Andrews every time the Bucs are on defense, and she goes, "Thanks a lot, Kevin." Tom, 3 and out. What happened?
That's funny.
Miller and Moulton with Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream are his 3 terrific podcasts. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett.
Well, Seth, the Brady thing notwithstanding, you've been into the hockey.
Oh, very.
And I'm just curious, I don't know how much you watched last night, but you're making the comments.
Yeah.
Did you watch into the Kings game last night?
No, I fell asleep. No.
Because when Leah Hextall's trending in the morning, that's never really a good sign.
Now, okay, I want to precursor this. I don't know what you're about to say, but I have liked her this season.
I have liked her, and I think she has sounded very good on a couple of NCAA tournaments. She had a really bad night last night.
She did? She had a rough night?
Yeah, had a rough night. Also, the crowd noise was too loud, which I will say the advanced technology of these networks, it's an issue with all the networks in all live sports. The crowd noise is drowning out announcers.
Well, and you know, I like both crews. I have friends on both of the crews, but I think the TNT crew is remarkable.
Yes.
I think the
They have
TNT
hockey announcers
broadcast.
doing. No offense, they have hockey announcers doing the game, Seth.
Yeah, right. Buccigross is not a hockey announcer.
No,
Steve
no,
Levy's not a hockey announcer.
And I think Levy was decent last night. I actually think he
Yeah.
and Ferraro were fine. Ferraro was drowned out by the crowd noise like Utah. Every time
Ferraro's the voice of the video game, so it really literally sounds like I just left it on when he's talking. Like I'm like, where's my controller? How do I control this game? But the TNT broadcast is brilliant. Liam McHugh is a Cuse guy, and he's a great traffic cop. Kenny Albert does a great job. Bryce Salvador, for Devils captain and one of our announcers for the broadcast. He's been great as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. One network hired hockey people to broadcast hockey, and the other network just
Hired ESPN people.
Threw that right and said, "Hey, you got nothing to do."
Well, they just stuck it up on the bulletin board. Said, "We've got the NHL. Anybody interested, come to the corner office."
What do you want to do? Right.
Who wants to sign up and do this?
But everything's but I don't know if John Forslund talked about this, but everything changes for the next round because they shave off 4 series. So what does ESPN do? They start to combine crews. Is Leah Hextall going to be doing the second round?
Well, I think
because if Sean McDonough and Steve Levy are there, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Right, and that'll be it. They'll just have because ESPN will have 2 series, Turner will have 2 series, so they'll have to just narrow it down to 2 crews.
Is Forslund doing the second series, or is Brendan Burke? I bet you it's Brendan Burke.
I'm guessing it is as well. And
I don't know Brendan Burke, but I like him.
But Forslund is doing the Eastern Conference Finals on the radio. We've got less than 60 seconds.
Oh, very good.
Less than 60 seconds. Go.
Oh, you want to talk about the podcast? Sports with Friends. We got a radio Hall of Famer, Dave Grosby. The Gros did 20 years out in Seattle, battling Parkinson's disease. Really great former colleague. Dave Grosby is on Sports with Friends. Hosted a show called Gros with Gas with Mike Gastineau for 20 years. Hall of Justice, we review Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And TechStream, there's a new software platform that allows you to not use passwords, but is more secure. How is that possible? That's a good TechStream.
Those are pretty good teases right there.
I agree.
That was A+ tease material there, Seth.
And hopefully you were watching this segment on the Miller and Moulton Twitch channel because you saw Seth in his Marvel shirt there.
Yeah, and I had to look at my notes.
Seth Everett. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, all the best to you and the family.
Talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Miller and Moulton. Oh, for those of you in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, I thought it was a pretty good show today. And for those of you in the 239, we'll try to continue it for 60 more minutes. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters.
Yes.
Insist on them for your vehicles.
You were saying?
Or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy.
Oh, can you hear me? What did Leah Hextall do?
The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf.
But it wasn't like a specific egregious.
Oh, just screeching. It was
her voice. She was struggling up against the crowd noise, and very early in the broadcast, her voice got very high and shrilly. And listen to the very first goal of the game, and you're like,
who have finally found a way to
yeah, it was. And of course, then you get into the whole
revolutionary blend of
and all
golf
that. But it just
and award-winning Orange Whip product.
Twitter must have been relentless.
Well, it was a really bad listen. I mean, just forget.
No, I'm sure it was. Yeah,
you were listening.
$20
would have
off
been
your first month.
it would have been a bad listen if it was a college
Get started for
broadcast.
a free
It was just
14-day
a bad
risk-free
voice is
trial.
a bad
It's
voice.
weird because I've seen her do games, and if I know she's doing the game, I'll keep it on. I like.
Training
I
grows
think she has a really cool sound.
I like
Bring
her
your
as a third
big mouth
person. You know,
to
when
John
she's the
Smith
third
Yeah,
voice,
yeah.
and I thought she's
Indulge in
been
their
fine.
That's fair.
overstuffed
But
subs
it
with the
was when she
freshest
was
quality ingredients.
screaming.
Enjoy
And,
our
I mean,
famous steak bomb
and even
with
the Twitter
perfectly
comments, I read about
grilled,
Tim and
marinated
David. They
sirloin
weren't
steak
the
topped with
don't let
provolone
a woman
cheese,
do a game
grilled
thing.
onions,
No,
peppers,
it's not that.
it was,
It was
bacon,
the
juicy
one of them that was
tomatoes,
pretty
and
funny. It was
creamy
basically
mayo.
if you had to endure a Leah
Made to
Hextall
order
2022
crispy fries
playoff
can
game,
be
you may
paired
be
with the
entitled to
gator,
financial
the
Wow.
compensation.
the chicken
Stuff like
bomb,
that.
or
I mean,
They should hire Gary Thorne or somebody like that.
with
Well,
John Smith subs.
That's
Duh.
what you want. Somebody give me some meat.
You today.
Well, and that's
Mark
what the
Miller for
hockey fan
Training
was saying
Grove
last
by
night. It's like,
Orange
okay,
Whip
you
Golf,
guys have
where
4
golfers go to
series
get
on
better.
ESPN.
Improve
And you're
your
all
game
and
fucking
you're-
around with him.
Orange Whip
Well,
Golf
and you're like, really?
online
So we
Arda
have-
Ocal sucks, and I know him.
growing
Butchergrass
swing
is
training
terrible.
video library. And the
PK
data
Subban's been
broken
funny though.
He's
by
good.
golf
He
fitness
has
No,
been.
he's.
Yes.
They could put him on the
provides
other
a
studio.
clear
He'd be.
path to unlock
I
your
wish
most
he and Biz were
powerful
going.
I don't
at it.
understand why the press release said current defenseman. His contract ended.
who
He
have
is
finally
such a free
found
agent.
a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game
Well,
he's a
improvement
current
methods with the Grove's
Well,
revolutionary blend
they
of
said
golf
current
fitness
New Jersey Devils defenseman.
and award-winning Orange Whip products.
I don't
Go
know,
to
not so much.
orangewhipgolf.com
Not part of the
to get
family.
started for a free
Oh, boy.
14-day risk.
My kid is fascinated with
Use
him.
code Miller10
Like,
to get
she's never heard him
$20
speak.
off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com
PK
to
Subban?
get started for a free.
Yeah, we don't stick around for like the post.
Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off
kid
your
short
first month.
attendance
The
intentions.
Training
man.
Grove by Orange Whip Golf.
Anyway,
Where
I'm
golf-
gonna go watch Leah Hextall. See you guys.
Okay.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And Dratharian, in this day and age of how much the networks monitor Twitter, that I was surprised that an adjustment was not made, say, at the end of the first period. That people listening and then looking at Twitter and listening again couldn't have had made audio adjustments and then also literally said in their ear, hey, you need to take a deep breath. You need to tone it down a notch. All right. A little more from the diaphragm. Bring the voice down an octave or two. Right. It's nothing to, and, Leah Hextall did that, 5 overtime North Dakota NCAA tournament game a couple years ago. Leah Hextall can do play-by-play of hockey. Just unfortunately had a really rough night last night, and it was a big stage. Now those broadcasts don't go in Canada, though, right?
No.
they got the TSN.
They've got real
They're
broadcasts.
right.
Great camera angles, directors who know what they're doing.
I will say, both networks are doing a lot more low angle ice level. Like they had that great replay on McDonough's tying goal in the third.
Yeah, I think they go low too often during the game.
I don't disagree with that. I will say though, it's great for replays.
It's great for replays. I don't mind. I wish they wouldn't move the camera when they're behind the goal low on a power play.
Totally.
Leave the fucking camera
Totally.
alone.
Totally.
I can see the puck go from side to side. I want to know where this. I need, with the way the game's being played now. If I don't know where the off winger is, I can't watch the game.
Frame it up and don't touch it.
Bingo. And you could give me a drone shot above of the zone, and I'd be fine with that. It'd be tough to see the puck go in.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
I guess an Al Jazeera reporter got shot and killed by Israeli-occupied forces.
Oh.
That can't be good.
No.
They're calling it war crimes. The journalist was shot.
Well, if people cared enough about journalists, it might be right, but well, I mean, KM, she got vitriol because, she has breasts, but yeah, I thought she was fine.
Wow. Price increases in the last year. This guy's got a whole thing up. Bacon up 18%. And it is. Gas 44%. Airline tickets are outrageous right now. Outrageous.
I know.
Trying to fly my kid down for the 4th. Oh.
I think we should come back. We got to talk about this European golf thing.
Okay. We've got to talk about our golf tournament too.
Yeah.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Bonus hour of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. If you missed us earlier, had a pretty good show. Bill Bender, the Sporting News, John Forslund, voice of the Seattle Kraken, and little NHL on TNT and TBS. He'll do Game 6 Thursday night. Lightning trying to stay alive. Just their second elimination game that they've had to play during this 2+ year run where they've won 2 cups and now they're trying for the three-peat.
Oh, give me Game 7.
Oh,
Give me a Game 7.
I
just wonder how many we're going to get.
Especially since we had so many series tied at 2, both NBA and NHL.
Right. I mean, can Philly get this done and force the Heat to a Game 7?
You know, it's tough. I've always believed it's tough to get the home teams to go 6-0, if you know what I mean. I mean, it happens. It happens. You get the all-home series. But it's tough to do it like, Phoenix, Dallas. Right now, the home teams are 5-0 in that series. Heat and Sixers, home teams are 5-0 in that series. And you'd like to think at some point somebody's winning a road game, right?
Absolutely. At least in Boston and Milwaukee, we've had teams win in the other team's building, so it's not been a home series.
Tampa and Toronto, we've had each team win in the other's building. Florida and Washington, we've had it as well. Game 5 of that tonight, oh, by the way. You wonder if the Caps had their moment. If the Caps had their moment. Had the 1-goal lead, Panthers. Well, first off, Bobrovsky stopped 2 breakaways in the final 6 minutes of the game. And then Panthers pull the goalie, and the Caps have a shot at it, empty net. Granted, it was 3/4 ice, but, I mean, he is a professional and had a shot at it and missed it by 2 inches. And then a minute later, the puck ends up in the back of the net, and you lose in overtime. And that's the difference from 3-1 and 2-2. And the Panthers, I mean, if they go on a run here, this will be one of those things that, will get talked about. Much like Dave Roberts' stolen base for the Red Sox in 2004, quite frankly. I mean, at the time, you're like, oh, well, okay. And 2 weeks later, you're like, Dave Roberts, the stolen base. It's where it all started.
So 3 more Game 5s tonight in the NHL. 2 other series tied at 2-2. David mentioned the Caps and the Panthers. Stars and Flames tied at 2. Rangers and Penguins, that's 3-1 in favor of Pittsburgh in that series.
Yeah, that's a butt whooping in that series. Man.
Yeah, the Rangers win tonight.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
Gerard Gallant embarrassed them publicly after. It was one thing to go in the room and give it to them.
Right.
Their head coach ripped them to shreds.
He did.
And he should have, because they were embarrassing.
They were. And the number 1 hockey columnist in New York, Larry Brooks, also eviscerated them in the column. There's no doubt. There's print and there's words. It's all right there. They looked like mites out there. They're running around in circles.
They did. I think they're going to grow from that game. I think that's the one game I'm sure of tonight. I'll take the Rangers. After that, I'll take the Panthers as well. I mean, I do think this is a night for 3 home teams, but I love the Rangers tonight.
Oh, that's interesting. I do not have that faith. And I'm
Well,
a
you've
fan.
watched them all year, and when you see they're bad, it's hard to get past it.
Yeah, because I thought they were going to win the series. I thought it was going to be tough. You know that I picked Rangers in 7.
No.
But I thought they were ready for the playoffs. And quite frankly, they look. I mean, Lightning fans can relate. Remember 3 years ago, all of a sudden you got swept by Columbus, and you're looking around going, "What the heck just happened? My franchise just fell apart in a week." That's what's unfolding here with the Rangers. And remember, the Lightning 3 years ago got worse every game.
Right.
They didn't turn it around. Oh, they'll get a good night's sleep and they'll, shake it off.
The difference is that the Columbus Blue Jackets had a world-class goaltender. We've got a chef playing goalie right now. This guy can barely stop a puck. How the hell New York can't do better than this against
right.
Whatever, Louis there, Domingue?
Pepe Le Pew.
Yes.
Right. I got it. Hey, we got some little news already this morning. A couple more NFL games, right? Or it's leaking out. Every network gets their leak day, Mark.
Right.
Yesterday it was CBS. They got to leak their game, which is Christmas Day. And they're going to have the Rams host Russell Wilson and the Broncos. That's going to be their mid-afternoon Christmas Day game. You'll have a triple header this year on Christmas. Fox will get the early game. CBS will get the really highly rated game. And then NBC will have Sunday Night Football on Christmas night.
So, yeah, this morning, the leak we get, the Packers-Cowboys, Week 10, was Fox's announcement. Packers at Cowboys Week 10 matchup. That's what Jimmy Johnson revealed this morning on Fox and Friends.
That'll do fairly well in the ratings. This just in. Green Bay at Dallas. That'll do okay. It is Aaron Rodgers returning to where he won his Super Bowl. And they beat the Steelers at Jerry's World. He'll go up against his old coach. That ended well.
That's even a stretch for you where he won a Super Bowl. I mean, that's
I did just
not
that you have to sell it. It's the Packers and the Cowboys. It's in Dallas. I mean, just let us know what time we're in. But and then he returned a few years later. He took Dak and the Cowboys when they were the 1 seed. Dak's rookie year, he filled in for Romo. They go 13-3. Remember, Aaron goes in and beats him. Was flawless. And took him out. Last championship Cowboys team. They were the 1 seed. Romo had his 2007 team where they were the 1 seed. The 2016 Cowboys were the 1 seed, and Aaron went in and took them out.
All right. We have been all over this PGA Tour, LIV Tour, Saudi Tour story.
Yeah, we're fascinated by it.
The PGA made their announcement yesterday to inform the 30-plus members who had sought to play in the LIV Tour and basically said no.
Right. Denied your releases, so now you go and play in that event at your own risk. And remember, we've already said, if you go play in it, you're done. We will suspend you from the tour. And they are giving the impression as if the suspension will be indefinite.
The European World Tour late last night did the same thing, or late yesterday afternoon, I should say. But they followed the PGA Tour's lead and refused to grant permission to any of their players to play in the London event that's coming up here in a few weeks. So that's Sergio, that's Ian Poulter, that's Lee Westwood, at least we think.
Well, I'm curious, are they officially a member of that tour anymore? You know how you have to play a certain number of events to be a tour member, otherwise you have like conditional status, and those guys are full-time PGA Tour players. All have homes in the States, even though they all play on the European Ryder Cup team. So I'm wondering if that is a throwdown to them or not.
or if it's just following along with the PGA Tour, and guys from the European Tour who are going to leave have been told they can as well.
Another interesting factoid about this tour is that, according to Greg Norman, who I think also had a presser this morning in Across the Pond, that he said, listen, over 200 golfers have sent us letters, if you will, saying, hey, I want to play in your first event. And they're like, we're only going to have like 48 guys. So it's not like we don't have people who want to play. It's just that we're trying to get as many of the top players as we can. And he goes, hey, if these players all back down on these respective tours, he goes, trust me, we're going to have these tournaments. They're going to be played, and we are going to court. We know we're going to court. We are convinced we will win.
Norman, in a statement, said, sadly, the PGA Tour seems intent on denying professional golfers the right to play golf unless it's exclusively in a PGA Tour tournament.
And since they're independent contractors, he goes, our attorneys have said, listen, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be long. It's going to be messy, but it's going to be a win. We're convinced of it.
He has called the PGA Tour an illegal monopoly.
This has a lot of NFL, USFL to me in it. And remember the big difference. The USFL needed to win financially. They didn't just need the NFL's a monopoly. All right. This tour has the money.
Correct.
They could get a $1 settlement and be fine. If they went to court and got that ruling, it's game on.
Just how many players will stick it through? I mean, to me, that's the real story here. How many players are going to stick this through and sacrifice 2-3 years of earnings while the courts figure it out?
Miller and Moulton. Speaking of golf, we're going to have a golf tournament.
We are.
In a month.
At West Bay.
In Estero.
Correct.
And details, give us another day to Monday at the latest. But circle Saturday, June 11th. So a month from today, we're going to have a golf tournament, raise a little money for a couple of local charities. And we have not done an event in 3 years. So we wanted to get out and about. Wanted to thank you for following us, 3 different acts all over the place and sticking with us and all that. So just circle the date. And by tomorrow at the latest, we think we'll have a place where you can go and you could sign up and say, hey, count me in.
That's the next step, is letting you sign up. But we are having it. If you want to shoot us a text in case you don't want to miss the information, go ahead, shoot me a text on the text line, FSN Radio to 21,000. As soon as we have information, I'll make sure that I text everyone who is looking for it. You can send us a tweet as well. If you've got David's personal number, go with that.
And give us 24 or so hours. I'm sure we'll have something up on the floridasportsnetwork.com where you could register for the tournament. So like to thank the folks at Southwest Florida Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com. They'll be our presenting sponsor, and they will make this tournament possible and make it so that we could send a little money to charity. So thank you, guys. Thanks for jumping on board. And thank you for jumping on board Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf. where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I know that. Definitely have plans for a 19th hole. Nice lunch afterwards.
The energy at FTX last night was awesome. The FTX Arena
What one was that?
last
Toronto?
night.
What is that?
Game.
Oh, that's what it's called now.
Yeah, it's always it's going to be the AAA forever for me.
Right. I have to. That's going to be getting
Weird.
used to for me.
What's that?
That where the Heat play now is called the FTX Arena.
What they are saying, by the way, for you, week 1, Vegas, baby. Broncos at Raiders.
Actually, do you know how great that would be? Because we're going to be in Colorado. Our first 2 weeks, we're doing Mountain West on Saturday.
Broncos at Raiders. That's right.
God, that would be awesome.
Which means you'd get to Vegas on Sunday.
Oh,
All day Sunday in Vegas.
yeah. Yeah.
You watch NFL games at the sports book.
On September 11th.
You
Yeah.
and fucking Sveta and well, they work though. Are they work? You think they're working? Well,
Yeah, they'll
working.
be with Adam Amin wherever he is on that Sunday. Oh my God, that would be awesome. Week 1 of the NFL at a sports book in Vegas. Holy blank. I do the SEC on CBS. I'm with Gary Danielson. Although weeks 1 and 2, we don't normally have games. So most years we sit out the first 2 weeks of the season. This year, I'm told we're not. And so CBS has a contract with the Mountain West, and we're going to do weeks 1 and 2. We're going to do Mountain West games. See here.
Dre, did you go?
Tentatively, we're going to do Arizona at San Diego State week 1 and Colorado at Air Force week 2. I think that's our games. Nothing official yet. So Danielson on Saturdays and Buck and Aikman on now Mondays. That'll be the schedule.
I went to the game.
What game?
Last night's Heat game.
Oh, it's the first time you said that. Oh, well, no wonder you're tired.
It was awesome.
Was the crowd nervous at the start?
No,
No, they weren't there.
you're stuck in traffic.
Well, you know, though, sometimes crowds like the Leafs crowd last night. Well, they were nervous. They were nervous.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, but I'm not talking you. You know what I mean. I mean, you can sometimes get a vibe from the crowd in which you know right away there's tension.
I'm
Joel's-
not being a dick. I don't think he does. I'm not trying to take. I don't think he has a clue what you and I think differently.
I do. I've been to intense playoff games. I went to a Heat Bulls playoff game where there were 10 technical fouls
Okay.
and like people
So
fighting in the
when
stands.
you walked in the building, did you sense it? That's what we're talking
Oh,
about. Before
yeah.
the game. That's what we're saying.
Yes, but for this one, I mean, Joel Embiid had a spin move, free throw line jumper that he cashed at his first shot. And I was like, okay, he might have a big game tonight. He did not have a big game.
Yeah, Dutharian, they were silent until they made it 2-1, too. And then they started jumping.
Come on. Yeah, they were worried when they didn't score on that power play late first period and they sit through that whole intermission living with down 2-0. That crowd was tense.
Upcoming Groupon member is Kenny Putnam, who's got talent to burn, as you'll see from this 7-iron from about 126 out. First thing I want you to notice is the setup. It's textbook. But notice this trigger move, which I call a hunch and lift. Watch as Kenny hunches and then lifts the club up. Hunch, lift. This really helps to get the club on plane at the top.
Come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. We are very appreciative of it. So much so, we're going to have a golf tournament a month from now. Give us till the end of the week in terms of how you can sign up, but just mark it Saturday, June 11th. We haven't had an event in 3 years for various reasons, most of them the pandemic. And of course, it's always nice to keep the career on the tracks. We keep getting derailed. So, we think we're on the tracks again. We're going forward. We have no idea the rate of speed, but we think
it varies.
Right.
Sometimes it is a sputtering, and other times it's a Cessna landing at Palm Beach International Airport.
Sometimes we're the fourth line that's grinding, and sometimes we're McDavid and Draisaitl, and we're heading over the cliff. So, Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
If you are into NFL schedules, I would recommend going on Twitter and following NFL scheduling leaks because, as it's pointed out, all of the teams have their schedule right now.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So we will get leaks for the next 2 days until NFL Network and ESPN have their schedule release show tomorrow night.
8 o'clock. Yep. 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
I like looking just to see how accurate they are with their leaks. Because if they're right, they have you in Vegas week 1. Monday Night Football, Broncos at Raiders week 1.
Joe and Troy doing Vegas to start?
That means you'd have a whole Sunday in Vegas to yourself.
Well, and I think college-wise on that Saturday, I think we're doing a Mountain West game, and we're going to be in Colorado. So that would be awesome to just have to go from Denver to Vegas.
Be Colorado State?
I think we're going to be at Air Force.
Okay.
They're hosting Colorado on the 10th. I think that's the game
awesome.
we have. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think the tentative game on week 1 is Arizona at San Diego State. I think it's new stadium.
Their new stadium's opening. You get the Air Force Academy. It's just beautiful in Colorado
gorgeous.
Springs. You've actually been out there before for a game, haven't you?
And U.S. Senior Open.
That's what it was.
We
U.S.
went
Senior
out
Open, you were out there. I knew you were out there in that part of the world for a reason.
Oh, yeah, both beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, that would.
San Diego, the best city in America. I mean, it's gorgeous every day there.
So,
rough start to your year.
And not only that, travel's going to be a little easier this year. I mean, last few years, and I never complain. I know how lucky I am, and a lot of people would trade with me. But I mean, a lot of travel and quite a few 3-hour sleep nights as well. But I was doing games Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Travel, 3 different places. Travel got interesting. And so now, I mean, just a Saturday, Monday, I mean, this is smoke 'em if you got 'em. Fly Friday, do game Saturday, fly Sunday, do game Monday, fly Tuesday. I mean, this is shooting fish in a barrel for me. This is easy.
Like playing in a golf tournament at West Bay in June.
Look at
It's
you.
that easy.
Look at how smooth that is. It's a pro right there. So June 11th, circle the date. Much like week 1 of the NFL, the first Sunday, September 11th, circle the date.
You know, we haven't talked about this, and we kind of missed the boat with Bill Bender a little bit. They had their vote to dismiss divisions and the rules for playing championship games. You know, you don't have to play everybody. You know, the Big 12 had to play everybody in their division in order to have a championship game. They've kind of thrown all that away.
Well,
I wonder if it's going to do anything to the divisions. You know, there's a lot of talk of what this will do to the divisions, and mostly in the Big Ten and the SEC.
Well, Miami Athletic Director Dan Radakovich was quoted yesterday as saying the ACC is moving closer to scrapping football divisions and adopting a 3-5-5 schedule model beginning in 2023. They have to consult with ESPN on the details. Now, I'll be brutally honest with you. I don't know where the 3-5-5 is.
I'm guessing 3 permanent opponents and alternating the 5 every 2 years.
Okay, but if they're scrapping divisions, then
rivalries, 3 rivalries. I mean, I don't think they're never gonna not let North Carolina not play NC State, if you know what I mean.
Okay. And so then you're only playing 8 conference games, though. You got the 3 permanents, and then you got the 5. So in theory, you're going to play every school at worst every other year. Would that be 3-5-5?
I think it would be I think you'd have to have a home and home with the 5. So every 3rd year, if you know what I mean. That would be my guess.
But also, it's interesting to me there's how Notre Dame fits into that.
Well, that's a great question.
Because I believe there's 15 teams in the ACC. I believe there's 15. So it's another. I mean, is it only 14? I thought it was 15. I thought the one division has one more than the other. It's just 14?
14.
So it's 14, and then Notre Dame is the pseudo the 15.
Right.
Okay. So then the 3-5-5, I think you've hit it dead on, where you got 3 permanents, because obviously if you're the 14th school, you only have to worry about scheduling with 13. So you got 3 permanents every year, much like the SEC has the 1 permanent crossover, and then 5, and then the next year you play the other 5. So in theory, you would host every school at least once every 4 years, and you would play every school once every 2, in theory.
Now, they have a Notre Dame problem here.
Well, I agree with that. I don't quite know how that fits into 3-5-5. Because obviously Notre Dame, I mean, they can't be part of the 3, can they?
No, but I think they'll just be an outlier that Notre Dame will get their because they don't count as conference games.
No.
So I think they're just looking at each year, 4 teams are going to get a non-conference game with Notre Dame. Notre Dame wouldn't have a problem with this. They're just going to keep scheduling ACC schools to fill out their schedule.
Right. They just need 5. They don't care who it is.
Right.
So
you'd get, every other year or every 3rd year, you'd get to see every team in the league, and you're going to get Notre Dame once every 3 years.
they say they're doing it because it would help the conference avoid dreaded matchups like the 2018 ACC title game when undefeated Clemson clobbered 5-loss Coastal Division champion Pitt. So that's why they want to do away with divisions. So you eliminate the Atlantic and the Coastal, which, let's face it, most of us couldn't remember which division was which. And it would pit the 2 teams with the best conference records in the title game. So.
But I'd be curious what the Big Ten and the SEC are thinking going forward. Because we have no idea with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC how they're going to try to figure this out. There have been the talk of the pods, and there have been talk of 2 divisions. And that means Alabama teams move east.
Potentially, if you were smart, I think you would do that. What about this for a schedule? When Oklahoma and Texas join, which most people feel will be, not while their games are on CBS. So count on 2024, I would think. But if you've got 16 teams, 8 in each division, well, you play your division games and you play the 1 permanent crossover. There's your 8. Now, then the SEC has to decide, are we going to play 9 conference games? Sankey's been on record as saying, no.
Why?
This is working for us. You conferences out there want to beat each other up, we're good.
I think if you really pinned the Big Ten down and said, you want to go back to 8? I think they would.
Now, think about how big, though. Imagine you're a Gator fan. If Alabama and Auburn don't move into your division, you'll never play them in the regular season again. If they go to, you play 7 in your division, and then their crossover remains LSU. So Georgia's crossover remains Auburn. Alabama's would remain Tennessee. And so the only time you would ever see those teams out west not named LSU is if you got to Atlanta.
Interesting conference. Not what I call a conference. Miller and Moulton, good, bad, and ugly. Today was a day when, all on the other side, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay, you got LSU, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mizzou,
Mississippi's.
and Vandy, and the 2 Mississippis. That's who you have left.
You can throw Missouri in with the Texas school, have your former.
Actually, Tennessee. So here's the other thing. You put Tennessee in, so you're separating Tennessee and Vandy?
Well, that's why you could put Tennessee and Vandy right in there with Auburn and Alabama. Geographically and everything, that works. Put Kentucky in with Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Put Missouri in.
Here?
Yeah.
Not Arkansas?
Oh yeah, it's got to be Arkansas.
See, if you go LSU,
Arkansas,
Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Okay, so we've done Vandy, 2 misses, Tennessee,
you've got
LSU, Kentucky.
You've got Missouri and Arkansas.
Arkansas and Missouri. Who are you going with? Missouri, Arkansas.
I think you have to.
They used to all be in the same conference together.
Or you move A&M with LSU. Because I don't know if A&M will want to be in the same division as Texas.
I don't think they're going to have a choice.
Could be.
But so we're going Ole Miss and Arkansas.
Oh, I probably need to find.
Hey, quick question. So,
Yes.
I've never looked at a hockey shot chart in my entire life until now. And I'm noticing here
Like, it's the impact logo. I'm assuming that's when they pass it off the wall. So
I've never looked at a shot chart
Look
like
at
that.
this.
I don't. That shots that don't go to the net. Shots.
That's insane.
Okay, you've got shots,
Shots
you've got
blocked.
shots on goal, and you've got goals.
So is the circle with the cross shots blocked?
Anything that's a solid color means it probably went in.
I mean,
The solid ones are like those are the goals, I would believe.
Oh, maybe this is a pass.
I can't help you.
Assist
One
to
time,
goal?
isn't there a chart? Like when you go down, is there not a chart?
No, there's not like a glossary now. I think that means assist, like pass to assist. I don't know, but I've just never seen this before. It's amazing.
No, you can't just relegate Vandy. That's the problem. Conferences have bylaws. And to change the bylaws, you need a vote. And there's no way you're going to get the necessary number of votes to do that, because you're always going to have the have-nots in a conference who are going to look around and go, well, we don't want to change these rules because one day that could be me. Hops, for fan purposes, we agree with you. The one thing I don't understand is how in Europe the owners of these franchises are okay with the threat of relegation. Because think about the value of your franchise if you get relegated. Think about it in the NFL. The Lions get relegated. The franchise goes from $4 billion to what?
But do you think, for the most part, that these Premier League clubs are worth more or less than NFL teams?
I guess we'll find it. Who's it that's being sold? Is it Chelsea?
Is that the one that the Oligard had? The Russian
Blue
They
team,
sell into
they
that
got like a lion on.
baseball.
Yeah, and there's all American finalists. Like some American ownership is going to end up having it. Probably going to be the Sixers and Devils people. Fam, Troy's not doing Amazon.
Coming back.
Yes, it is a scramble, Johnny Mac.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Listen, since we were talking the elimination of divisions and realignment within conferences, and we went over what the ACC is thinking. During the break there, we did some quick scribbling.
Right. We put the SEC into 4 14 pods.
Because we talked about if the SEC keeps an East and a West and you get to 18 divisions, well, if they don't expand the number of conference games they're playing, there are half a dozen schools that are never going to see a half a dozen other schools. It's just not going to happen. And that's not good for business. I mean, think about it. If you're a Florida Gator, you want Oklahoma and Texas to have to come through the swamp once every 4 or 5 years, right?
Absolutely.
So there is a proposal out there for the SEC to put it into 4 14 divisions, pods, whatever you want to call them. And going from 8 conference games to 9. And the concept, Mark, would be you play the 3 teams in your division, and then you have 3 other 4-team divisions. You play 2, 2, and 2. Obviously, do the math. That's 9. And then the next year, whether you play the other two teams in those other three divisions, or whether you do a home and home and then flip to the other two and do a home and home. But either way, every school would come through your building, your stadium, once every 4 years.
Right.
That, to me,
that's a good system.
That encompasses everything. That appeases ESPN. They're rotating and,
Well, they want these matchups too. They want
Sure.
Oklahoma against Florida and Texas against Georgia and all these great games that we're going to get.
And quite frankly, they're shelling out enough money that they should get it.
Absolutely.
It's where the network should look at Greg Sankey and go, hey, come on now. How much more you need from us? Getting about $500 million a year from us, So we did some scribbling. And because we're trying to keep, obviously, there's rivalries. And if you end up in the other division, you could go a couple years without playing each other. And so we scribbled down the one division would be Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky. We put an Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Vandy division together. We put an Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, Missouri division together. Think about it.
To the Big 8.
Yeah, there you go. Never mind the Big 12. And then we had the two Mississippi schools with LSU and Arkansas. And that's what we scribbled together, trying to keep geography, rivalries. If
the only one that gets lost in this, the Georgia fan would be pissed because Georgia Auburn's not in the same division. And there's not going to be, in our world, there's not an every year crossover game. That rivalry would go away. That would piss off a lot of people with those two schools.
Right. It would become an every other year thing. If they did the philosophy of, like, say you play the top two teams and the bottom two teams. So like Georgia would play Alabama, Auburn from that division one year. The next year they'd play Tennessee, Vandy. Then the following year you play Alabama, Auburn again. You just flip the locations as to what it was 2 years ago. So yes, the oldest rivalry in the South would become an every other year thing.
Because they're not putting Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn in the same division.
No, they are not. They're not making it a cage match here.
Right. It's not the group of death to go all World Cup on you.
And also think about it. If let's just say like the two teams that we kicked around, Tennessee or Kentucky, if you put Tennessee in the division with Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, that's great. But then Tennessee doesn't play Alabama every year.
Well, and I'm not even as concerned with that. Then you got Kentucky just sitting out there as an outlier. I mean, geographically, that's a tight little division with Vandy, Tennessee, Auburn, and Alabama. It really is.
Yes, it's a bus league, basically.
Yes.
So that's how we scribbled it together. But think about it if you're a Gator fan. I mean, first off, you'd play. Now, also, if you're the Gators, by the way, you lose Tennessee every year. Tennessee becomes an every other year thing.
It does.
But you gain Alabama/Auburn. The Gators had a nice rivalry with Auburn going for a long time. But also Oklahoma and Texas. Once every first off, you'd play them every other year on average, but they'd come to your stadium every 4 years.
Here's the big question, really and truly, to ask the Florida fan listening right now who might not like this all that well. What would you rather have? Tennessee every year on your schedule, and don't think because it's just a win that works, or the opportunity to play Oklahoma, Texas, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Arkansas, and getting them to the swamp? Because we've talked about this. The Gator home schedule is not great. Going to 9 conference games, to me, does wonders for the Gators' home schedule. Because that Georgia game sitting in Jacksonville every year isn't a great.
Well, right.
It's not a home gate.
No, you're only getting one home game out of your own division every year because that's a neutral site game. So there you go. This stuff's going to have to get worked out. In some cases by next year, in some cases, well, whenever Oklahoma and Texas are joining the conference, which most people believe will not be for at least another 2 years, potentially 3.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
You know, if he was a starting pitcher, he would have never even made it to that. He would have been pulled a long time ago.
Let me tell you, the conversation at the mound today when you went out for the hook, it would have been lively.
He just slammed the ball in my hand when he was leaving.
Also, one of those, remember when the pitcher leaves the mound early before the manager even gets to the mound?
Right.
A veteran pitcher did that to Frank Robinson once when he was managing the Giants, and he grabbed the pitcher by the arm and dragged him back to the mound and verbally berated him on the mound in front of 40,000 people. That's when you could do that sort of thing. Twitter didn't get on you for making physical contact with a player. Minnesota became the 32nd state today, 164 years ago, 1858. The land of 10,000 lakes, welcome aboard.
Happy birthday, Minnesota. You were nice then, you're nice now.
You are. And you know what? You look pretty good for 164. Yesterday was the anniversary of Walter Hagen winning his 4th Open Championship. Today's the anniversary of him winning his 3rd of his 4 British Opens. He won it at Royal St. George's. He beat Gene Sarazen by 2. 1928. Sandy Koufax threw his 2nd no-hitter today in 1963. He would throw 4 in his career, one of them a perfect game. He no-hit the Giants 8-0. Richard Harris released MacArthur Park on this day in 1968. The British...
Try to get through it. That's all I ask. Just listen to it and see if you can make it through the whole song. I dare you.
Hey, listen, look at the lyrics for Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. That ain't much better. The song is a lot better, but the lyrics are not. British comedy troupe Monty Python was formed on this day in 1969.
Yeah, that's great. You're going to take down Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, huh?
I did not say that. I said the song is much better. The lyrics are very simple. That's all I'm saying. Last Beatles single in the U.S. was released today, The Long and Winding Road. How ironic. John Lennon on this day, 50 years ago in 1972, was on the Dick Cavett Show, and he said, the FBI is tapping my phone. That caused a bit of a stir. Also, Willie Mays was traded from the Giants to the Mets today for a journeyman pitcher and cash. And then Mays finished out the 72 and the entire 73 season with the Mets, and that's how he ended his brilliant career. Bruins won the Cup today 50 years ago. They beat the Rangers in Game 6 at the Madison Square Garden, 3-0 to win the Cup, 4-2. One of my favorite sports stories, 45 years ago today, Ted Turner managed the Braves. Fired the manager, didn't replace him. He said, I'm going to manage them. He managed them. They lost. Bowie Kuhn, I think, was the commissioner, and he said,
nuts. Enough of that.
Never again. Find somebody by tomorrow. I don't care if you pull them out of the stands. It's not going to be you. Madonna's Crazy for You was number 1 on this day in 85. Wasn't that Vision Quest?
That's on the Vision Quest soundtrack.
Is that where it was released? Was it in the movie before it was on the radio?
Unless it was the other bad movie she was in.
Desperately Seeking Susan?
Yes.
I thought that one was a little later, but once again, goes back to Vision Quest soundtrack, underrated. Last episode of Dynasty on this day in 89.
No, you're right. It's Vision Quest. Underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. Journey, I think, did an original song. Might have been one of the last things Steve Perry ever did with them, in fact. Al Leiter no-hit the Rockies on this day in 96 for the then Florida Marlins. Also in 96, the Value Jet DC-9 crash in Miami where 109 people died. Sergio won the Players 14 years ago today, 2008. A lot of people celebrate a birthday today or are no longer with us, Mark. Salvador Dali, Corey Monteith, Natasha Richardson, Irving Berlin, Foster Brooks, Mort Saul, and for Birdcage fans, Martha Graham.
Martha Graham, Martha Graham, Martha Graham.
Keep it all on the inside. Mike Lupica's 70 today. Matt Leinert's 39. Cam Newton's 33. Black China's 34. Martha Quinn is 63.
Goodness gracious.
And that is Today Was the Day.
Couple of small omissions. Well, one small omission, one a little bit larger. Eric Burden, lead singer of The Animals and the band War, is 81 today. And it was today in 1981 that Bob Marley died from cancer.
Oh, wow. That's a biggie that I missed. Sorry about that.
That's why we're here.
Thank you.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
All right, Collier County. One step closer to not having to travel to Lee County to buy your weed. Collier County commissioners voted to bring to the table the ordinance allowing medical marijuana dispensaries to operate. If passed, the ordinance would allow dispensaries to open in unincorporated Collier County wherever pharmacies are allowed.
Well, they're already doing food to table, right?
For the bad, we'll stay in Florida, where a Florida woman is arrested on battery charges because her neighbor had a chicken that was pooping on the back patio. So Christine Turman, 57, filled up a bucket of pee and dumped it on her neighbor.
Oh, come on now. Come on.
When police arrived, they said the victim was wet and smelled of urine.
You know, it's the whole proportional response thing. That's vaulting over the line.
Finally, the ugly. We go to St. Anselm's Catholic School in suburban Philadelphia, where they had a flower sale for Mother's Day, and they were selling fake roses. Seems like a wonderful idea, but when you undid the faux rose, it was a sexy red thong.
Oh, wow.
Did I say it was a Catholic grade school?
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hell of a fundraiser. Just misplaced. Damn.
The roses, they put out a release in an email saying the Mother's Day plant sale for the single faux flowers was not what originally intended. Instead, the item was a Valentine's Day gift intended for adults.
You think?
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 11th, 2022.
A couple days ago, we did the who's the most, must-see person right now in sports. Ohtani against the Rays. 7 o'clock tonight. This is a late afternoon game on the West Coast. 7 o'clock on FS1. The Rays, who got no hit last night, send the pride of Cape Coral, Shane McClanahan, against Shohei Ohtani tonight. Marlins play an afternoon game also. They're playing a 12:30 start in Arizona. It's 3:30 our time. There's like 7 day games today.
Getaway day already on a Wednesday this time of the season. 3 hockey games tonight. Rangers host the Pens. Pens up 3-1 in that series. Caps and Panthers. Panthers at home trying to take a 3-2 advantage in the series. They've not had an advantage in this series yet.
And they're a big favorite. They're like minus 230.
And that's about the same number Calgary is at. They are hosting Dallas. Both the Panthers and Calgary, huge favorites at home in series tied 2 apiece.
How many home teams win tonight in the NHL?
All 3.
I don't think the Rangers do. I think the Rangers were broken in game 4 by the Pens. NBA tonight, couple of game 5s. Boston, 5.5-point favorite at home against Milwaukee.
I've been wrong on this series a lot, but I'll take the Celtics and lay the points.
I'll take Milwaukee. They're the champs until proven otherwise. Memphis getting 4 at home against Golden State. No Ja. They're trying to stay alive.
Yeah, I'll take the points in Memphis.
Yeah, you and I are both on the Grizz tonight.
See if I can keep that NBA heater going.
Quickly, Felipe, 10 seconds. NBA, it's your specialty. Who do you like?
I'll take the Grizzlies and I'll take the Celtics.
Taking the 2 home teams. And there you have it.
The story all season was that the Grizzlies played good without Ja.
That's true. They're like 20-6 or 21-6, and that
Right.
includes the loss in Game 4. Miller and Moulton, have a great day.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith.